Hello, welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. If you think I'm putting pregnant pauses in for no good reason, you're damn right I am. Do you know what? We are going to have an amazing show today because we are going to be heading into Arabia to one of my favourite courses. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here with the one and only, absolutely gobsmacked, Emma Martin. Emma, we are going on June. It is flaming June because in the Northern Hemisphere it's meant to be super hot. It's super hot outside the studios at the moment. Is it going to be hot on the racecourse?
Oh, I think so, Stay, because we're heading to Arabia to the Tel Marib course today. 34.7 kilometres of racing, 335 metres of climbing. This is a fast race course. McCarthy took it in March, 54.34. Holdcroft took it in April, 53.33. It's going to be seriously quick today. They come out the start pen through the first two sprints. The first climb of the day, the Aquarium climb, 3.2 kilometres at 2.5%. We'll see people go off the back. I'm not sure we'll see anybody go off the front. We drop down into the Leeward Desert climb. This one is nasty. It's short and it's steep. It only says an average gradient of 3.5% because of the transition between the two parts of the climb. Then we move through the rolling terrain, through the Tel Marib sprint, which takes us into the finish. And the finish, well, it is 800 metres uphill at 10%. That is going to decide the race today.
You heard it here first. That's Emma's predictions already made, and we haven't even gone from the course profile on to our race starts. As usual, 6 race starts in terms of categories. Category 6 are our standard race category. We move up from each category in terms of power and in terms of speed. Well, in theory, because it's not always the case, but we will see if that's going to play out today. We've got Cycling District team here with Susanna Lowe. We've got the Kitty Hawk Racing teams. The Moonpool represented by Scriven and Webber. Skyclaw by Hamilton, Yaskalainen and Holtman. Good Sea Level Phoenix on our start sheets with Rachel Hooker. And, of course, the Royal Ascent team. And that's Botero and Lodono. Part of the Category Race 6 race field here on Qualifier 1 in June. Remember, our qualifiers allow the riders to qualify to race in the teams in those finals. You need 2 qualifying rides to be in a team in the finals at the end of the month. It's the start of the month. It's time to go racing. First race field away, Emma, in Category 6. Movement up and down from this because the finals always produce great performances and people have a habit of pulling something out of the bag, which then means they go up a category.
Well, and that is the story of today across all of our race fields, the movement and the progression of our riders as we watching Category 6 come out the start pen. We're in with Jessica Hamilton. She is seriously a strong sprinter and really does the business here. It's Limbaga who is dialing it off the front at the moment. She really is pushing on strongly out of that start pen. Kirchner, Londano, Jaskalainen, all in there now. Katja Jaskalainen is the only rider from the top 5 last week who is in the race field today. She took 4th place for that Kitty Hawk Racing Skyclaw squad. Last week, the top 3 riders have progressed to Category 5. So Anne-Marie Gurney has gone up, Liz Smithson has gone up, and Amy Sudibayo has gone up. And for me, they were the dominant names throughout May. So this for June, I think, is a new start and a fresh start for Category 6. And we could see some new names at the top.
And that's the great thing, isn't it, about people riding and racing regularly, the improvement.
Yep.
You know, if you want to get better, the number one thing is consistency. Consistently racing on MyWhoosh really, really works. Now we're in with Angie Solizano, just kicking out of the saddle there, making sure that she stays in position in this race pack as they head out. The usual fast start from all of our categories taking place, I'm sure, all the way through today. Some blisteringly quick, some sensibly quick, and some, well, there may be 1 or 2 riders getting caught out, and it is possible, isn't it, to not necessarily lose the race, but to make your life much harder by
Well,
being just a little bit slower out of the
yeah,
pack.
we've got one rider off the back at the moment, and you can just see them in the shot there. It was a really hard, fast start today. It was 4.6 watts per kilo that was dialed out the front on that start pen. That is a quick movement out of that pen, and you've got to be warmed up to go with it. But you don't want to. Well, that's it, isn't it? You don't want to burn those matches to start with. Now, one of the riders I have just seen, we're in with Melissa Scriven at the moment, but I have just seen us flick past Birdie and Driscoll. It was her birthday this week.
Happy birthday.
So happy birthday, Birdie. And no pressure, but as we said last week, at Katie Atkins' birthday, you learn to go better on your birthday. Now, Melissa Scriven, if she lets us know when her birthday is, we will know when she is going to race hard and race strong too, channeling that birthday energy. But Melissa Scriven at the moment is channeling the energy to stay in the pack. Take a look at the concentration on her face and that classic clock in the background. I still love that clock.
Indeed, Dimension Data jerseys we mentioned last time we dropped in with Melissa, as well as the Trek Segafredo Trek squad jersey and the GBR kit there as well. So, always interesting. Do let us know if you want a birthday shout out. We can't guarantee it every time. We do try and get as many people as we can. Get in touch. You can get hold of Emma. It's at biking _ Emma and at Matt Fixer Pain. We'll try and get those messages out. I actually got a message very, very late last night for another show that we're doing a little bit later on today, which is the XCE Mountain Bike Eliminator of the World Cup, of 2 Uber fans who go to every single round of the World Cup Mountain Bike Eliminator. And it did get me wondering whether anybody has watched every single Sunday Race Club. Has anybody been an Uber fan and
Uber
watched
fans.
a lot?
If you think you are a Sunday Race Club Uber fan,
What's the numbers? Is it like
touch.
2 shows or is it like 200 shows?
Get in touch at biking _ Emma. Uber fan call out today.
Okay. We may have our theme for the day. Now, no teams represented in our Category 5 races here today as we move up from Category 6 to Category 5. It's a 5-minute head start for Category 6 from Category 5. Category 5 get a 5-minute head start ahead of Category 4. But don't let that fool you. There's a lot of riders in here who I think are going to mix this up. And, of course, we've got that progression of riders moving up as well, which is going to change things and shake things up. As we just wait for the riders to go, I'm just going to do a very quick shout out. You predicted Jessica Hamilton was on sprint form. She's just taken the Category 6 sprint at the Eldar HQ. No surprises there from Hooker, Skitco, Almond, Sori, and Limbago. It's time for Category 5 to head out onto the race route and to go head towards that first sprint point of sprint competition. Decided on points, as is the mountain climbing competition, and then the overall race finish. It's who gets across that finishing line first will take away the overall race win in each of our race categories prizes across all of the categories. Now, Category 5, big race field, not maybe as explosively quick out from the start pen here, but that in some ways for me is a more sensible approach to a race start rather than going into the red.
Well, a much steadier start today from the Category 5 riders. 29 riders on the start sheets today. The top 3 from Category 6 have moved up, as we mentioned. So Smithson, Gurney and Sudubayo coming up and progressing to Category 5. The top 2 from Category 5 last week have gone up to Category 4. So that's Emma Sonnerson and Katie Adkins, who took the win last week in those May finals. We do have Amy Loxley here. She took 3rd place. Danny Giraldo took 4th and Natalia Idzik took 5th. They are on the race start sheets today. Katie Bago, Isabel Alzat, Sandra Ferron, all in the mix. I've seen Nikki Lloyd, Amy Loxley. They are all here today and on those start sheets. It's a good race today, I think, for an opener. For the month in June. And let's just remember, it's a 5-Sunday month in June, which means there are going to be 4 qualifying races.
An absolutely bonus month. Lots of time to race to pick up those prizes on the way through. If you are in the top 10 individuals in every single race, including the finals. If you take a sprint segment, the fastest time through the sprint segment or the fastest time up a climb, you in your category, you also are then eligible for prizes. You also, of course, have the overall sprint competition, the overall climbs competition, and of course, when we get to the finals, 7 teams, each team a minimum of 3 riders in each of our race categories. It's a huge prize fund. So get on board, jump on board, come and race. Along with the Uber fan, get in touch, shout out. I'm going to put an shout out if you are a newbie to the Sunday Race Club in terms of racing. Get in touch with us and let us know. So you may well have been watching and know that we'd love to do the homework. We love to see what the riders are doing. We see what you're up to outside of the racing to get a bit of context to what you're up to, whether that's training, racing, whether you're exploring, whether you're going out around the world, whatever you're doing out there. Let us know. Let us know what your social media tag is, for example, and say, oh, I am Amy Loxley, and I'm the Amy Loxley that's in category 5. And by the way, I am, this is my social media. And yeah, you might not know this about me, but once upon a time, I got a Blue Peter badge. You know, there's some random fact is always good to know. Other TV
That's a
badges are
very, that's a very
available.
British, old comment.
It is.
Not many people will know the equivalent and the relevance of a Blue Peter badge.
It's like having a scout badge or having a brownies badge or having
again,
a
you're
Guides
sticking
badge.
with the.
No, I think they are universal
Are they?
movements. Yes, they are.
Personally,
around the
I
globe.
think
Yeah.
having a Blue Peter badge was more important than any of those.
Well, there you go. You're showing your age.
Well, let me say, Isabel Giraldo is on our screen at the moment,
Yes.
and she's one of the riders who really is near enough ever present, actually, on the Sunday Race Club, and it's always great to have her in the mix, and we can see her on the screen there, and just taking on board some hydration early on in the race, which is good, which is key, because I tell you something, when it is warm outside, it is warm indoors, and even if you are riding indoors and it is cold outside, hydration still absolutely key. So Isabel Giraldo in the mix, in the pack. The pack is wide across the road here. It's a fairly flat start to the Tel Marib course. It's not really until we get to around the 5 kilometre marker that we start to hit the real rolling sections on this course. But the Category 5 pack are coping admirably as they're coming into that sprint. The Category 4 riders, well, they are waiting patiently in the pen.
So, yeah, do get in touch if you want to let us know what you're up to. Just watching our Category 5 riders go through the sprint. That was Natalia Idzik with the fastest time through there. Let's move on to our Category 4 racers, though. They're itching to leave that pen and get out onto race route. Blitz Babes, captained by Kawazeska. We've got a cycling district team here. They've got lots of teams across all of our race categories with Frias and Vieira, and the Velocity of Vipers. Well, Katie Adkins, the rider who was riding so strongly last week in there, but they are a mere soupçon of the meal that is our Category 4 riders. Huge range of riders from a massive range of countries, from Salam Al-Kabi from the UAE, Rosalinda Paragon in the United States, right the way through the Philippines, Croatia, New Zealand, Australia. I mean, right around the globe.
But that's the absolute joy of the Sunday Race Club. And the other joy is the fact that these riders from all over the globe get to start to know each other. They start to chat on the rider chat streams, and and the teams start to come together, and it is a fabulous thing that you start to have friends all over the world that you would never have met before. Well, Valentina Latrigla is here, Gina Van Rossum, Gina de Gracia, Katarina Coe, Hannah Goodall. Now, she had a good ride last week. She took 3rd place in that final. Melissa Simkin took 5th. We've got the riders who have come up from Category 5, so Katie Adkins and Emma Sonnerson. Lam Kong has gone up to Category 3. From Category 4. It's been fabulous to have her back on the Sunday Race Club, and great to see her really getting stronger and stronger. So, that's a really well-earned transition from Category 4 to Category 3. I think this is going to be a really interesting race today because, I think we're going to see quite a number of these Category 4 riders come into those final climbs together, and that, for me, is going to be really exciting. If I can just say, in Category 4 last week in the May final, let me tell you how close the Category 4 competition was. We're in with Rosa Herrera at the moment, and I think you can just see Ika's knee. He's probably about to warm up for the men's race as well. There you go.
And
Even
an
a little
eyebrow as
eye.
well.
But Rosa getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and I don't discount her being right on that top 3 podium shortly in the Category 4 race. Now, the Category 4 women's race, I was going to say to you, so strong. Last week in that May final, the team competition, the Speedbusters took it from the Gear Goddesses by 14 seconds.
Wow.
And when you bear in mind it's those top 3 times added together, and you can go wow again because the Blitz Babes were only 37 seconds back as well.
Nice. Oh, wow. Should I say, if you want me to say wow again? I always think the team competition really does show just how close the racing is, particularly when we get some great team selections. Just jumping back in with Rosa Herrera, I mean, we know Rosa is an all-round rider who rides a multitude of disciplines. And I think it really, for me, I love the fact that this is a key part of what she does generally as well.
I've seen the photos of her getting big air on her mountain bike.
Yeah, she's a rider who's not afraid to send it off-road, and yet at the same time is indoors and racing, sitting on that smart bike, making sure that she's getting the right sort of training. And it just shows you having a real mix is a great way, not only just to keep yourself in shape, but and to be good to race, but also just to keep your head fresh by doing different things. And I think it's very easy to get in a sort of a tunnel vision, not the Ferrari tunnel that we've just gone through, but tunnel vision where you are just tied into doing the one thing. You become so focused, it becomes your entire world, which I can totally understand because it's so immersive when you're on MyWhoosh and you've got all the great surroundings. But for me, I think it really does show when you are looking and you're wanting to head into different places. It gives you that little freshness, just something different. And then you come back and it feels really good as well, that returning to racing.
Well, we saw Category 6 go through the sprint. Category 5 have been through the sprint as well. And Natalia Idzik, boy, she went head to head with Angie Christina Gavaria Areas in that sprint, and Idzik came out on top. Areas having to settle for second place.
Now, let's move up another category. This is the last of our 5-minute gaps between riders for a little while. This is into Category 3. We've got the Cinnamon Bun Race Team. Still one of my favourite names. Confectionery always goes down well. Heather Shanks are representing them. The Cycling Districts riders here. That's Liliana Silva. Golden Light Squad. Well, they're represented by Golden Light herself. And the Quad Collective. Well, that is Stephanie Briggs, who is going to be here. Fantastic to see so many people. One lady addition to our start sheets, which this is as much a note for Emma as it is for everybody out there. There's Stefani Piccolo. Also from when we did our initial homework to when the exam was set. Always hate that when that happens when I was at school. Okay, let's head out with Category 3. We're in with Helen McKay as we head out from the start line. Another fantastic race field. One rider who I've got a question mark on, though, whether they're going to be able to go as well as maybe we would expect, is Holly. Don't talk about the sand, the sangria, the sunshine, and the doing not a lot Bergin.
Well, that would be because she's been on her Holly Bobs.
Holly Bobs? Now that's a UK race on her holidays.
Yeah, exactly. So she's been out to sunny Spain, enjoying a week of rest and recuperation. And now it's really interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes it can make your legs go, oh, I've not done very much recently. And other times, you can fly.
I mean, during the week, sometimes we don't always do our work meetings in the studio. We did a work meeting on the bike and we went to a cafe to discuss this week's show. And we rode to the cafe, and I'm not giving anything away here. Emma, you had cafe legs.
I did. I quite often get cafe legs when we stop.
So you sat down, chatted, spent too long talking about the shows, and what we were going to do on the show. And
too long in the cafe.
Too long in the cafe, basically. And then you came back out. And, if you imagine that cafe leg syndrome times 10, that's the getting off the aeroplane, sitting there. Now, I know it's not the world's longest flight from Spain to the UK. However, I think you're going to have cafe legs, and that's the last thing you need. I don't think Helen McKay's got cafe legs. I just think not quite, when something goes wrong at the start, you have to go like crazy.
Happen. You
and
can
that's
drop
what
a
she's having
water
to do
bottle,
here.
anything can happen. And
We've
Helen
all done
McKay,
it.
take a look at this though. She's absolutely dialing it back in. She's going to make it back onto the group, and luckily the group are not moving very quickly, and she'll get an opportunity to recover now. She can sit in the pack and recover from that big push to get back on. Now the Category 3 race field.
Yes.
Let's just take a look, shall we? Because 29 riders on the start sheets today. The top two from last week have progressed to Category 2. So Camilla Miros and Alice Lethbridge moving up to Category 2. And I think both of those are very well deserved. But we have in the pack today Julia Walkenhurst, who took 4th place, Stefania Sanchez, who took 3rd. The rest of the squads on here looking really good. Kasani, Sisiolka, Randy Gino, I think, should go well on this course today. We've also got in the mix, you mentioned Bergen, we've seen Kay, Pekka Kova, this for me is a type of course for her. Angelica Altamirano, the young rider from the Philippines, she should go well today as well. Heather Shanks is here as well from that Cinnamon Bun race team. So it should be a really good race.
100%. And I think for me, one of the key things in this race field is that we've a real mix. We've got some really good climbers, but Category 3 particularly is jam-packed full of all-rounders.
Yes.
Riders who can do everything, more so than the specialists elsewhere. Now, as these riders go through, you can just see at the moment Natalia Idzik on our screens with that green skin suit on at the moment in Category 5, and clearly on form, clearly riding well.
She's taken the first 2 sprints, and I have to say, through the Aldar HQ sprint was sprint number 1. I said she went head-to-head with Arias. Through sprint number 2, she also went head-to-head with Arias, absolutely battling it out. And Natalia Idzik, again, coming out on top. And I have to say, those two really, really battling for that sprint competition, and I really love that because it's not just about who takes who goes across the line first in each category at the end of the 34.7 kilometers. There are races within races going on, and the sprint race is just one of those.
And that's what makes cycling so much fun. There's so much going on simultaneously, and it's really going to keep your brain fueled.
And there's something for everybody. If you've got a different skill set, if sprinting is your thing, then there is something for you.
And just going back to that first sprint, Valentina Latrigula taking that sprint from Idzik, from Hamilton, in terms of the overall times through at the moment from McKay. So actually, the sprint winners in the first 4 race categories in the first sprint are actually the 4 fastest riders overall as well, which is really interesting to see. Now,
well, we've just dropped in with Category 3, and I'll tell you something. They've gone through the first sprint, and Lee-Sophie Ramett has decided that she's not going to back off. She's kept the pace strong. She's just backing off a little bit now, and the group's starting to come back to her wheel. Sneaky move, that one. And one we do see where the attack continues through the sprint and goes straight on off afterwards. Now, most riders will expect an attack during the sprint. As part and parcel of the sprint, it's a sprint attack. And then the riders to sit back, and occasionally we see riders launch a race attack through those sprints and just continue on the pace, and they don't stop. But this pack all coming back together again. Wellner is there, Ramett, Bergin, Rees, Montoya, all in the mix and all back together.
Yeah, Lee-Sophie Ramett's really interesting rider.
Yeah, she's a real all-round rider as well.
Yeah, we saw her taking climbing, we've seen her taking sprint points, we've seen her taking overalls, and I think that her mix, her skill mix, and her ability in that mixed terrain really marks her out as somebody to watch in this sort of race route. Now, we're just taking a look on the left-hand side of the screen, going onto the big screen here at our riders who are furthest down the road, headed up by Melissa Scriven, who actually has the lead of the Category 6 bunches that go onto our first climb, which means that they are now at 12.2k. When they go underneath the banner, that's the aquarium climb. Quick reminder for you, this climb, 3.2k long. It is essentially just over 100 meters of climbing, average gradient 2.5%. But don't let that fool you. All our climbs today are stepped, with the exception of the very last climb. So all the categorized climbs certainly stepped on the way up. That is the aquarium climb and the Leeward Desert climb, and that means that the average gradient is so deceptive. There are some big flat sections on this climb, and it does mean that the steep sections are steeper. Now, you did say, Emma, in a number of at the start of the show that we'd see a number of riders go off the back here, and it's more about riders going off the back than going off the front on this climb. That's because it's not that hard, in the sense that it's not somewhere where you can tend to go clear, but if you're not on the pace, if you're having a hard time, the group will leave you.
Yeah, the steep sections are not that steep, or if they are steep, they're not that long, which means when we've got bunches of riders that are quite well matched, we often see that riders don't push on and push away. Riders tend to go off the back rather than off the front. And we can see that stretch just on that Category 6 bunch. As we go back in with the Category 4 riders, they are pushing through the sprint, as we can see. So at that 7.5 kilometre marker, that is indeed the second sprint of the day. Just taking a little look, Le Trigler, who took the sprint competition actually in Category 5 in the final last week. She's doing the business again this week. Katie Adkins. I tell you something, Katie Adkins came up from Category 5 to Category 4, and she's obviously decided the sprint competition is where she wants to throw her hat into the ring this week, because she gave Le Trigler a real run for her money, and Sabrina Horner as well. So those three really trying to contest that sprint competition in Category 4. The rider in that green skin suit in Category 4. She's buried in the pack and taking a recovery moment in there. The rider's towards the back of the group, but you can see the Trigler's power numbers. The watts are in green in that white bar. Well, those are her stats we are looking at. Green indicates draft, and that's exactly what she needs now after taking that sprint jersey, because she needs some recovery, and that's exactly what she's doing.
Okay, let's move on to our last two race categories. That 10-minute gap between the Category 3 and Category 2 race start doesn't half fly by. Okay, Category 2, Abus team represented by Thompson. The Antipodean racing team represented here today by Kittle and Garea. The biggest team, in fact, are the core squad. That's Gonzalez, Roa, Kalman, and Field. And the Pure Bed Daisies represented by Pia Kuma. Good to have those riders in there and representing those teams, even though we're only on qualifier race number 1. I do like to see it when people are starting to gel those teams in nice and early and get that team practice in. Out of this race field, though, that is 7 out of our race field, and that it's about a fifth, if I remember correctly. My maths is very rubbish today. I have poor math skills today. I've already tested them, and I would have got a U for unclassified had this been my GCSEs. Let's see if our riders are A-star today or whether they're going to be down in the Zs. We will find out. It's Category 2, up and away. Our penultimate race field onto race route, heading out and across the boardwalks here before they go into town and then head out towards that aquarium climb. Category 2, it's not our biggest race field in Category 2 that we've had historically, but it's all killer, no filler.
Well, that's a phrase. It is indeed. So 30 riders on the start sheets today and some really strong riders. So Alice Lethbridge and Camilla Morris have come up. Bridget Falensky has come down from Category 1. She's often a regular in that sprint competition, but regularly is not with the leading group in Category 1. So she's progressed back down to Category 2. We do have some great riders here. So Joanna Kalman took third place in the May final. Sylvia Guerrero took fourth. Serena Vittori took 5th. Amelia Van Hove has gone up. Jennifer Gothlander has gone up to Category 1. That's going to be interesting. There is, though, Samara Shepherd on the start sheets today. She took the win in Category 2 last week. She's been out and about riding the outbound gravel. She took 41st place in that women's 200-mile competition in 11 hours, 46 minutes. Congratulations to Shepherd. Well, Joan Prado is on our screen at the moment. She's another really class rider in Category 2. This should suit her today. We can see her in that training room. Often she has company in there. Can't tell whether, I think she does actually today, because I can see a shadow behind her of another rider. And I do love that when we see riders and racers on the Sunday Race Club actually with another racer in the same space. They might not be in the same category, but there is that companionship and team feel when you're in there together.
I'm sure I saw Joan Prado actually out and racing on the road and actually taking away a race victory in a sprint, if I remember correctly, this week. So congratulations on that, another great race result.
There, so Imogen Kate Tridden at the moment, she's tightly packed into that Category 2 group, and the group rolling strongly. They're at the 1.4 kilometre marker. They've come very, very steady out of the start pen today, this Category 2 pack. Now, Category 2, do you know that there was such tight racing in the May final last week? Shepherd took it from Van Hove, Cowman, Guerrier and Vittori. Jenny Eck took the sprint competition. The team competition, I know we said there was 14 seconds separating the top 2 teams in Category 4, but hang on to your hats, because in Category 2, the core team took it for an Antipodean Racing by 8 seconds.
It's nothing, isn't it? 8 seconds is so short.
Gas were 25 seconds back in 3rd place as well. It was so tight, that team competition in Category 2 last week. And I have to say, though, the tightest competition was in Category 5, because the Watt women took it from Team APRA Power by 1.7 seconds. That was close. Velocity Vipers were 9 seconds back in 3rd place in Category 5. So right the way across all of our categories last week in that final, that team competition was so close. Well, Joanna Cowman on our screens at the moment, she took 3rd place in that final last week. She's a strong rider, and today, well, I think she should be looking for the win. Look at the smile on her face. I think that is one very positive rider.
I'm positive. It's good because it takes less energy to smile than it does to frown.
Well, a happy rider is a good rider.
Yeah, happy rider's fast rider. One of my key phrases that I've used for years and years, decades. I'm an old person, that's how it works. Right, let's go on to our Category 1. Now, lots of teams represented here today. Let's try and get through our riders. Kristen Korchinski here for Ablock International. Anna Caramello here representing the Cycling District 1. We've got Francesca Tomasi and Sophie Giovanni for Supernova, Gabby Guerra, Catherine Furr, Merle Bruni for the Sweat Sensations, Camilla Alberg and Elizabeth Van Heuling for the Breakaways, and Lizzie Brooke for the Watt Sisters. In fact, 10 out of our 16 riders, they are representing teams here today. Now, notable exception here is our world champion, not on the start list.
Well, she did put
in a second. So our riders are up and away. Jennifer Gothlander in with this race field.
She's come up from Category 2, and it's going to be really interesting to see how she goes today. Amelia Van Hove has come up as well. Now, McCarthy did put a post out after the final last week to say that she was taking a break, she was taking some rest, and that is all part and parcel of that elite racing scene. You have to know when to take your rest and when to build yourself up. Holdcroft also not on the start sheets today. So Maria Holdcroft, who took 2nd place in that May final, not here either. As you mentioned, Matt, 16 riders on the start sheets today. Gabby Guerra, who took 3rd, Merle Bruni, who took 4th, and Catherine Fuhr, who took 5th place in that final. All 3 of those from the Sweat Sensations squad. in the mix today. There we go. There is Jennifer Gothlander on our screen. Now, she's put in a phenomenal performances in category 2 and really lighting up the sprint competition. She's got some phenomenal power, and it's going to be really interesting to see what she does today in category 1. She came to the Sunday Race Club in category 3, progressed to category 2, and now has progressed to category 1. I love those types of stories.
I love people progressing. I think it's just that, and so many people do. And don't worry if you go backwards as well, because it is that getting rest is really important. But also you got to you remember that the people's form goes up and it goes down, and it raises and dips. And of course, we've also got dynamic categories, so
And
it's
we're
not
also
a fixed designation between
have
power.
to remember that not everybody is on the same training program and targeting the same things.
No, and some people are racing indoors, some people are racing outdoors, some people are in the southern hemisphere, some people in the northern hemisphere, some people are slap bang in the centre and are going to be exceedingly warm. I was talking with the production team earlier on, saying it was 32 degrees when I was out riding yesterday. And it was scorchingly hot, and they went, "That's not warm. It's 42 here." And I was like, "Yeah, no, that's starting to get super warm. It's gonna be warm for our riders." Interesting to note, plenty of fans in action already. We're in with Liz Van Heuling, a rider who has ridden for that Restart race team on a regular basis, riding here today for the Breakaways. And at the moment, you can just see that looking very focused.
Yeah, she is indeed. But great to have her back on the Sunday Race Club. She's taken a short break. She's come back. She's in the mix here today, and the look of concentration on Van Heuling's face, absolutely brilliant as the Category 1 riders move into that Ferrari showroom. Gallegos is here, Bruni, Kulczynski, Guerra, Fua, Van Hove, Caramello, Olberg, Velt, Lizzie Brooke is in the mix, Sophie Giovanni is here, and the pack all rolling together in Category 1.
Liz Van Heuling's first recording participation, and this is only as per the MyWhoosh and I'm not quite sure they go all the way back to the very start of history at the moment.
The start of history.
No,
way back.
Way back. The start of history was back in March of 2022. Now, I suspect that actually it was before that as well, if my memory serves me correctly, rather than the data and the stats. But we have dim, distant history, dim and distant memory cells as well, back that far. Now, going into this race field here, it's a small race field for Category 1, 16 riders. I don't think that's going to change in some ways the way that the race is ridden. If anything, I think it's going to make it even more of a battle for these riders.
Yes, I think it is as well. And I think they're going to think it's an open page today. And you can see them going into the first sprint. And Gothlander versus Giovanni is what we've got on our screens at the moment. Sophie Giovanni is in there. But Merle Bruni is at the front of the pack. But take a look at the power coming out of Jennifer Gothlander. Look at that face. Look at that drive. Look at that kick. She's 16 watts per kilo. She went at that first point on that sprint. And that has got to be. She has got to have taken that sprint. I'm going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. But she did go from right on the front of the group with Merle Bruni, and it's going to be interesting to see. But she has indeed taken the green skin suit. Jennifer Gothlander, 14.1 watts per kilo average through that sprint.
Now, two things I'm picking out here. One, no Bridget Flensky.
No, she's in Category 2. She's gone down.
Who's in Category 2. And that's left the door open in Category 1 for the sprints, because she was the sprint empress of the sprints in Category 1. But you've got Jennifer Gotland, who's come up and gone, do you know what? Let's go out. Great target. Instantly a successful mission, even if she didn't do anything else for the rest of the race. That is a successful mission into Category 1 for your first racer. Brilliant.
But I'll tell you what I thought was really interesting. I think the riders have taken a look at the start sheet and gone, Bridget Flensky's not there. The sprint competition is now open, because we've never seen Merle Bruni go for it before.
And Sophie Giovanni we saw,
And Merle Bruni absolutely going for that sprint. She was like 10, 11, 12 watts per kilo. She'd made a concerted effort, a real thought to go for it as well. So really interesting to see, the riders looking at the start sheet, seeing who's here, seeing who's not, and then choosing what they're going to do and how they're going to execute their race.
Interestingly, Category 2 actually hold the fastest times. The fastest 3 times through the sprint itself, actually held by Gonzalez, Ruiz, and Svarstrom. Category 2.
It's a bigger pack.
It's a much bigger pack. It's double the size, and I think that really is played out in that
the draft.
sprint. Okay, let's switch from the high-speed sprints to the high-speed climbing, because 2 of our categories on our screens at the moment are on that aquarium climb. The aquarium climb running from 12.2k to 15.4 kilometers of race route. Category 4 nearer to the top at the moment, with Gina Van Rossum at the front here with Dowling and Johnson. They're just coming on the wheel of some of our Category 5 riders as they make their way in and past. In Category 3, they're a bit lower down the slopes, but still a big pack. But we are seeing, as Emma predicted, riders going off the back.
Yeah, and let's just go through. So Category 6 and Category 5 have gone through and over the top of the aquarium climb. Category 6, it was Musa Al-Mansouri set the fastest time, very closely matched by Melanie Skitko. Angie Solorzano was right in there as well. In Category 5, they too have gone over. Danny Giraldo setting the fastest time, Seba Al-Ray and Joanna Warren in the mix as well. So those 2 packs of riders going through, up and over already. They are heading towards the Liwa Desert climb. None of those groups have gone up and over that segment yet. Category format, though, look as though they are coming towards the top section of the aquarium climb.
They are indeed. At the moment, it's Johnson who's leading this out, but I can't imagine that any of these riders are going to give away the chance of taking the segment climb prize here in Category 4. Johnson goes over the top. You can see her on your screens on the left-hand side in person, and the avatar goes through in the lead over the top. Johnson, though, does not have the fastest time, and that all came down to where the riders came into the segment rather than where they are going over the top. Next key, and you've got to switch very quickly from taking the segment to looking at the overall. You need to be in this leading group. You see it time and time again over a climb. As you go over the top, the pace will pick up, the speed will pick up, and if those gaps open, if somebody in front of you lets that wheel go, you've got to get back on it, and you've got to get chasing.
Well, you can see a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier on in the show, that the aquarium climb stretches the groups and riders go off the back, because we've got a pack in the front that we're in with at the moment, but on that top right-hand corner of your screen, you can see 1s and 2s smattered back down that aquarium climb, and you can see a very similar thing happening here in Category 3. If you take a look at the top right-hand corner, we've got the group at the front, we've got 1 rider off the back, and then we've got 2 riders further back, and then a further 2 behind it, but it's Julia Walkenhurst and Julia Montgomery who are setting the pace on the front of the pack. Stephanie Briggs is there, the Canadian rider, now coming to the front of the group. Angelica Altamarino, we said she would be there or thereabouts at the beginning of the program today, and she is. Holly Bergin is in the mix as well, but it's Julia Montgomery on our screens, and you can see her dancing on those pedals in her pain cave as she continues to push with this group. It's still a big group of Category 3 riders. You can see the drift off the back at 14.6 kilometers. They've still got 800 meters to go of this climb, this group staying together, but it's a long ask for Montgomery, but it's interesting to see that technique on the screen.
Yeah, you can see her working hard there. She'll be looking to improve on 6th place in the qualifier race number 3. She's really been in the mix. Be interesting to see. She was a 2nd place actually in qualifier race number 2 in May. So a rider who has taken a win before. It would be another win. It would double her wins. If she takes it today, we'll have to see where she is when we come into the finish. Now let's go to our first riders who are out onto the course first and still leading the race overall in terms of where they are on the race route. We're in with Katja Jaskalainen at the moment. You can see the finish rider on your screen, left-hand side in person, the avatar on the right-hand side. One of those bottles looks like it's already two thirds gone, and another bottle in the bottle cage, if not another 2 in the bottle cages. Really important to get that hydration when you're indoors and there's limited cooling available.
Well, it was fabulous because Kasia joined me this week on the live coaching on MyWhoosh.
Yes.
Yeah, we did a sprint session on Wednesday, and Kasia joined us, which was fabulous to see. I do love it when the Sunday Race Club riders drop into live coaching. She's doing a sterling job here on the Liwa Desert climb.
Yeah.
This is a really steep climb. Melanie Sitko and Musa Al-Mansouri, the two riders who have just gone underneath the polka dot banner. Jaska Leinen is in contention here. She's 8 seconds back, but they're now on the flat section on the top, and then the descent and the run towards the Tel Marib sprint. She's got a long section now to close that gap down, and as Sitko and Al-Mansouri sit up, she can just keep holding, if she can, that steady pace to close that gap.
And there's two riders behind as well who may well make that junction, making that a leading group of 5. Now, as we make our way in through, we're now in to the next of our sprint number 2, the Al Hassan sprint. 3 sprints in total. Interestingly, Garcelando widening it up and goes from the back of the bunch in towards the front there. I think that should give her the fastest time. Emma, do we have the stats in? Has she managed to do it? She's got the jersey. That means she's got the points.
She does have the fastest time in category 1. Yes.
Excellent.
But she doesn't have the fastest time overall. You can see the leaderboard there. It's Fardström in category 2 who's taken the fastest sprint, 12.59 seconds. Gonzalez, Rura, Miros also in there. All those 3 riders in category 2. That pack really, really dialing it in the sprints. Goslander currently in 4th place. Helen McKay taking the win in category 3. She slots into 5th. Natalia Idzik, phenomenal sprint from the category 5 rider, slotting into 6th place overall in that sprint competition. The Trigler takes it in category 4. And I'm having to scroll through at the moment. It was indeed Jessica Hamilton who took the sprint competition in category 6.
Wow. Sprints are fast and furious today, and we have one more to go, the Tel Marib sprint, but it's going to be a very different complexion, I think, on the groups that arrive at the Tel Marib sprint, as it was from the Al Adar HQ sprint and the Al Hassan sprint, because those first 2 sprints were completed within the first 7.5k. The last sprint, well, it's about 7.5k from the finish. There's a big difference. Now, just jumping in here with Karolina Zikowicz, who is at the moment solo on this climb, just working her way in through category 6 riders. Currently got Al Aissa and Montoya in front, but doing a good job here riding up this climb. This is that Liwa Desert climb. This first part is steep. It levels and goes again. I regularly say this is one of my least favourite climbs. And it is. It really is on MyWhoosh. It's and this profile, even wherever it is, whether it doesn't matter what I'm riding, on-road, off-road, indoors, this profile is like my nemesis. And it's just one of those things. And some riders love it. And Zikowicz working really well up here and climbing well, making me look very, very pedestrian, I have to say.
Well, I'll tell you something. She's got El Issa and Montoya ahead of her, but she just needs to keep pushing on. Adriana Flores from category 6 is the rider she's just gone past. So she just needs to keep working, keep ticking through and pulling back riders, and that motivation really strong. Now, towards the front of the category 5 race, the category 5 leading group now really starting to get mixed in with those category 6 riders. We've got Al Ray, Guiney, Alzat, Bago, Loxley, Sudibayo. They've got Jacqueline Kirchner from category 6 for company, but the pack is swelling. Look at the size of this group. It's a real mix of category 6 and category 5. Now, if you're a category 6 rider and you've been caught by the leading group of category 5, it is completely within the rules to take the draft from the group. And that's exactly what I would be doing if I was Melissa Scriven. She's in the pack nicely towards the back of the group and taking the draft. They're at 22.5 kilometres, that mixed group. At 23.9 kilometres, 1.3 kilometres up the road is the leading group in category 6. And Jaskalainen has caught Skitko and Al-Mansouri. So we saw Skitko and Al-Mansouri go up over the Liwa Desert climb together, and Kasia Jaskalainen just off the back by around 8 seconds. We said she had a long downhill flat run to pull it back, and she has.
She has. Holtman and Sarasu haven't. They're still at 30 seconds. It's a great work by Yesterdalen there. Now we're going to drop across to Category 2 here. Category 2, in with Bridget Kittle, one of our regulars on screen. It has to be said. Good to see Bridget once again on the Sunday Race Club. And again, super focused in front there. Interestingly, the fan not rolling here. I am a fan.
A fan. Well,
Yeah.
Kiddle, having come up from Category 3 fairly recently and really getting into the mix in Category 2, which is fabulous to see. She's surrounded by Denton, Tridin, Prado, Caramani, Vittori. Yaramillo is in there as well, but Bridget Kiddle really holding her own in the middle of the pack. And at the 12.8 kilometre marker, they are heading up the early slopes of the Aquarium climb. And you can see the gradient is 4.3, just dropping now as they come to one of the plateaus, because as Matt said earlier, this is a multi-staged climb.
And you could just see as it kicked into that little steep section, Bridget Kittle just got out of the saddle in person just before we left the Panko, and then dropped back down, I'm sure, as we went onto that lower section. That raise and fall really, really key.
Well, Category 3 have gone over the Aquarium climb. Sophie Ramett took the fastest time from Stefania Sanchez, Julia Walkeness, Asulia Kasani and Holly Bergin. So Category 3 are over that section of the course. Category 2, the next group to go over that group. We've got Mina Coinston on our screens at the moment. She is indeed one of our wonderful women. Mina, it's so fabulous to see you still here on the Sunday Race Club.
Brilliant.
You are an absolute inspiration to everybody. And good luck with the imminent birth.
Yes.
Of the new addition to the family.
Yeah, new addition to the Coiston family, maybe the next generation of Coiston cycling superstars. We will find out, I'm sure, in the future, and good luck. And our thoughts are with
We're also
Mina.
phenomenal triathletes.
I have to say, absolutely impressed by Mina Coiston's posts and on social media and her honesty about everything that she has to do, that you have to deal with.
If you want to follow an elite athlete through pregnancy and childbirth, and you want a really honest account of what happens and what you can do and how it all works, follow Mina Coinston on social media and look back over her posts. She qualified for the World Championships back in October last year. Well, it was a September semi-finals. And then found out literally as she was running into those finals that she was expecting, and then on doctor's advice did not go to the World Championships finals in Abu Dhabi. And then she has charted her journey ever since then. So elite athletes managing life and elite level sport. It is a phenomenal story, and she's a phenomenal athlete.
And it happens across all sports. I mean, we see that in everything from athletics to rugby and so on. And great to see that she's continuing to ride and race. Now, let's jump across to another of our real elite riders here. We're in with Catherine Fua, who, interestingly here, not responding as Kristen Kolczynski goes up the road and has stretched out this race field. Now, we're going on. We take this right-hand turn. We've just done a little rise, but we're now going on to the climb. And I think Kristen Kolczynski is wanting to make this climb effectively longer by going harder early into it. And that will suit Kolczynski because she's been doing a lot of those, the American hill climbs, and they're long. They're almost like time trial
They're a good
distances.
Hour.
You know, they're not a 3-minute sprint burst, a 1-minute super kick. We are talking about real long climbs. And by doing this, by going early, she's making it hard for that little bit longer. Can she go clear? It's 9 seconds. It's a substantial gap from Kolczynski to Fua, but Fua's face there, she was looking cool and calm and collected and not fazed by it at all.
Oh, but she's also got a great pack around her. Guerra, Bruni. Those are her two teammates on the Sweat Sensation squad. They know what they are doing. They will have this plan. But Kristen Kolczynski, great to see her in a really aggressive racing mode, really bringing her game to the race today. Absolutely great to see. It's going to be interesting to see how this pack responds. She's still in sight at the moment, but let's just remember, Kolczynski is on some phenomenal form at the moment. Back in 2024, out on that American hill climb scene, as Matt was mentioning, she was setting not just personal PRs, but course records out on those hill climbs. This year, already, she has been beating her own course records out on that hill climb circuit. So Kristen Kulczynski doing what she does well, and she is on climbing form at the moment. The pack behind, you can see them just coming round the corner. That is going to be an interesting Category 1 race today, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, Kristen Kulczynski, she's not been outside the top 8 since the middle of January.
Yeah, she's on some great form and
storming,
consistent.
absolutely storming. A brilliant scene. Now, going into some more of our brilliant athletes as they come up to the banner to end the first of our climb segments and to see who claims those points. Kalman goes through first, but it's Jenny Eck who's looking like she has the fastest time on the aquarium climb. Takes away the
Now, I tell you,
polka dot skin suit there, but that was a real fight.
well, I'll tell you what's also interesting is Alice Lethbridge is right on the front of that group. She's come up from Category 3 into Category 2, and she's dominating the climbs in Category 2.
And she was climbing, she was taking climb jersey after climb jersey after climb jersey in Category 3 and right up there in the overall through the month, again progressing. Relatively new to racing on the Sunday Race Club.
Yeah, she came in last month.
Yeah, still finding her feet, finding the optimum way to ride, where to draft, where to sit, when to push, when to position, when to move. As you get when you go into any race, you know, it's I went to a criterium in France earlier this week and was reflecting on the differences between a criterium in France and a criterium in the UK. Same race, 1 hour crit, round a K circuit, K&a-half circuit. It's so different in how it's ridden and in the style of riding and where people are pushing hard. And you're going to have 2 races that are in theory the same, even with almost an identical or very similar course, and yet it's about how the riders ride them, and those differences, you've got to get used to them. Now, Kulczynski's taken her different discipline and her riding on the hill climb. She's switched that across and she's taken the positive bit out of that and really put it into her racing here, which is good to see. That gap has gone out. It's not come back.
Well, I'll tell you something. This is making a really interesting race, and I'm just really interested to see the Category 1 pack have just caught Mina Koivunen. There was a little bit of a wave going in there. Koivunen, you know, she used to be part and parcel of this Category 1 race group, waving to friends as they go past, which I just love. Yes. But Kulczynski, let's go back to this at the moment. She's now got a 17-second gap on the climb. The early push coming into the aquarium climb from Kristen Kulczynski really serving her well here. The pack here not responding as strongly as anticipated, but Velt Engstrom, Fua Van Shaw, Caramello, all in the mix here, and they're wide across the road, indicating to me that no one person is really driving this. Catherine Fua now coming to the front of the group. They're coming to the final part of the climb where there is a consistent gradient. Kulczynski's at 14 seconds. This is not insurmountable. And the drive now coming from Fua. Van Hooling going to 7 watts per kilo. So the pace is now on from the chase group, and they're now committed to try and bring Kristen Kulczynski back.
And for me, Kulczynski here is sitting at a pace that she knows she can hold. If you are outdoors and you are going over the top of a climb, you go into that descent, you will have to ease off the pressure because you will have to get around the corners. It's that simple. You don't want to go off the side of the road. You want to stay on the road. You cannot carry maximum pace and therefore put maximum power down. If Kulczynski treats the 12.2k markers, and it was earlier, she went at about 11k on the ascent, right the way through to the end at 21.5k of the Leeward Desert as one section, 110, 11k section, and she powers the downhill as hard as she goes up the hill, and she uses the gearing on the bike, and she uses the virtual gearing to get a big enough gear and treats it as that at 6 watts per kilo. She should be able to maintain that all the way through because she doesn't need to brake on the downhill. She doesn't need to take her foot off the gas. Keep your foot on the gas.
Well, look at this. Gabby Guerra is putting her foot on the gas at the moment and closing the gap down to Kristen Kulczynski. This, I think, also is the drive for the polka dot skin suit. Kristen Kulczynski went in early. Guerra stayed with the group. She's now pushing on. Catherine Fur is coming, as well as Van Hooling and Bruni and Gallegos and Van Shaw, All of them are absolutely dialing it at the moment. And take a look at that. That's Guerra and Fua. We've just seen Fua sit back down. Guerra now sits back down on that saddle. The push is on. And in fact, Guerra's late charge there picks up that polka dot skin suit. And Kristen Kolczynski, well, she has now got company. Look at the stretch on that Category 1 pack. They're dangling down the road. Guerra absolutely over the moon that she has taken that polka dot skin suit. It's now up to Bruni, Van Hooling, Gallegos and Fua to close that 4-second gap.
And a very dangerous break if they then don't keep the foot on the pedal going over the top and they don't keep that chain tight, because you've got Guerra and Kolczynski together. They are now clear. You've got the chase behind Fua, Van Hooling, Bruni, Gallegos. That's a group of 4 chasers, then 3, then 4, all over the place.
Let me give you the rundown. So Gabby Guerra took the climb competition there on the aquarium climb with that move to catch Kristen Kolczynski. Liz Van Hooling took 2nd place in the time of the aquarium climb. Then Fua, then Bruni, then Gallegos, then Van Shaw, then Alberg, then Brooke. Kristen Kolczynski, her time up that climb was 9th fastest. She didn't have the benefit of the draft that a lot of those riders in the pack had. Cornelia Engstrom, Anna Caramillo, Amelia Velt, Sophie Giovanni and Amelia Van Hove were the top 14 riders who went over. Whether there's 14 riders together when they clear the bottom of the climb and have regrouped, that's going to be seen.
All action in Category 1. We'll come back to them, I'm sure, fairly shortly. However, we're in with our amazing Category 3 riders here, and you can see Ruti Race at the bottom of your screen, Lorena Belter in the middle, and Heather Shanks at the top of the screen here. 3 absolute superstars of Category 3, and 3 riders today who I think have all got slightly different strengths on this race route, and it's going to be about playing the cars right into their strengths in the right way.
Well,
very, very important, I think, for them to ride smart, all 3, because you've got to race to your strengths on this course. I mean, at the moment, they're at 26k. They've done the 2 big climbs. We've got that steep climb at the end. We do have some bumpy terrain in between, but it's relatively straightforward.
Well, you can see Reese at the moment, zone 2, because you can see on that zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bar, it's highlighted. That blue section tells you where the rider is riding at the moment. But it was over the Leeward Desert climb. Briggs, Sanchez, Ramett, Bergin, Daniels, Bonilla and Walkenhurst, who were the fastest riders over the top. They've got a long transition now, right the way through to the 34 kilometre marker before they hit really that final climb to the finish line. So it's a long transition section. At 30.7 kilometres, we're now seeing this leading group of Category 5 riders look to make the catch to the 3 riders who are away clearing Category 6. Ella Vink is the one driving that. Joanna Warren is the one coming back onto her wheel. The rest of the bunch around 5 seconds back as they continue to drive towards the end of the race. At 31.4 kilometres, the 3 riders ahead of them are the 3 leaders in Category 6, Melanie Skitko, Katja Jaskalainen and Musa Almansori.
And they've got to be thinking now, I mean, they're at 31.4k. They're going to hit this climb fairly shortly. It's only a few k away. This is a short 800-meter uphill sprint, 10% uphill. This is going to take some real kicking to get yourself into that finish. This is going to be really, really key. Think now about what you're going to do and how you're going to execute that. And you've got to be planning on the fact that you could well get caught by this group of not just the 2 breakaways from Category 5, but the big bunch as well on the way into that climb, and how you are going to react if that's the case, because you want your sprint effort for the sprint. But if you get caught, do you then sprint to try and go with the Category 5 as they come in?
That final 800 metres, though, at the 33.9 kilometre marker, so pretty much in just over 2 kilometres, they're going to hit the base of that climb. There's a descent into it, and then it literally is a wall. 800 metres at 10% to get to that finish line. It is going to just feel like it's stopping you in your tracks.
And we're seeing Manon Holtman in with the chasing group there on the left-hand side of your screen. She's a Category 6 rider who is using this to come across riding smart. Now, there is an argument that being able to draft each of the groups interferes with the racing. But for me, it's a key part of why our riders progress. And it's an integral part of why it's such a great educational training experience when you race on MyWhoosh. Because by having the draft available, when a fast group comes past, not only do you get that mental pull, that it's almost magnetism to stay with the group, that just pulls you that little bit extra, that gets you to train that little bit harder, to race that little bit harder. But you also are learning that skill about group dynamics, because in a race, there's patches where even if you're in the same category, some riders will be faster, some riders will be slower, some people will be having a good patch, some people will be having a bad patch, and how you react to that is such a key skill to be able to use that and respond to that and to react to that. What do you do when Holtman comes up? How much work has Holtman done? If you're leading 3 riders in Category 6, you need to be thinking about these scenarios. And it's that ability to think on the move or do it instinctively in such a way that it's correct that's really key.
Well, Amy Sidibayo on our screen at the moment has progressed from Category 6 to Category 5, and she is in this leading group in Category 5 at the moment. Brilliant performance from her on her step up into this category. Guiney is also there. She's also stepped up. So is Smithson. These 3 riders in this group that we are watching at the moment. And it is great to see them absolutely dialing it today and really taking the bull by the horns with this progression. Katie Bago is here. Natalia Idzik is here. Idzik has been on some superb form recently. It's been absolutely fabulous to watch. The question is, who is going to take this? Danny Giraldo is in the polka dot skin suit. Natalia Idzik is in the green skin suit. They're all part and parcel of that Category 5 bunch. There we are. We're in with Natalia Idzik.
She's got the energy to wave.
She has. She's managed her
Excellent.
race effort. The final kick is coming. The question is, what can she do?
We're coming in, slight downhill run, then the gradient kicks in, sprint up over the top, have enough to hold it. You've got to get your pacing right, you've got to get this right. This is where it pays to have come out and ridden on this race route, to have ridden, to found that little section, and to get that dialed. It gives you that advantage. Now, you can just see the 2 leaders in Category 5 have now caught up. Well, one has, it's Ella Vink, who has caught and gone past the front, and Katja Jeskalainen has chosen to respond to this. She's kicking on down here. She wants to hold the wheel of Vink. Skitko at the moment, I think, is the rider in trouble at the back of this group. But Jeskalainen wants to hold Vink. She's using this as an option. She's putting in some of that sprint training here to get onto the wheels, but she's got to be aware of what's coming as well. That June is on its way, and they have to hit that and have some pace. So it looks to me like our 3 riders in Category 6 are back together. We have got a solo leader from Category 5 in Ella Vink, with Warren not that far behind. Then it's the Smithson Restrepo, that big chasing pack. This is going to be key. Vink at the moment looking good, clear by 8 seconds, 10 seconds now from the nearest chaser in Category 5. But Category 6, this is going to be a 3-up ascent. Who has got the climbing legs? Can Al Mansouri make it 2 or 3 out of 3? Emma across here is nodding in the studio. I'm going to put words to Emma's actions here, because Emma's nodding. Emma, you're saying that like this is a done deal.
No, I'm not sure it is. Melanie Skitko is a phenomenal rider, and she's really kicked and kicked hard. The question for me is, can she hold it to the top? Al Mansouri, we know, is a great climber. She really excels when she goes up. But Ella Vink at the moment in Category 5 is the rider leading this race. She's pushing on here at the 34.2 kilometre marker. They have got 500 metres to go, all uphill. It's 12.4% at the moment under Vink's wheel. She's got to go around the corner. Take a look at that back down the road, because I'll tell you something, Joanna Warren is coming. Isabel Restrepo is there as well. Anne-Marie Guiney is in the mix too. So is Sandra Ferron. But can that pack of Category 5 riders close the gap down on Ella Vink? They have got around 400 metres to try. It's not going to go quickly because it is so steep out there at the moment. It's about to touch 13%. Melanie Skitko doing a brilliant job here in Category 6. Al-Mansouri has actually dropped back. I should eat my words. Katja Jaskalainen. Her cadence was phenomenal on that earlier push, and she's driving up this climb at the moment. But Melanie Skitko in Category 6 has set herself a tempo. A Category 5 pack are coming. They're closing down on the Category 6 leaders. But the question is, can they close down on the Category 5 leader, Ella Vink, who pushed on early on the climb? Has she given herself enough, or is Guiney going to close this down? Al Ray is there as well as Ferron. Now, Sandra Ferron is a strong rider in Category 6. Likewise, Danny Giraldo, who's in that polka dot skin suit. At the moment, they are coming up onto the wheel of Skitko, the leader in Category 6. Ella Vink is still clear. Has she got enough road to stay clear, or has she got too much? And is Guiney going to close this down?
Vink's 22 wins so far. Skitko, 1 win so far. At the moment, it's Guiney, though, who I think is on the way in towards this finish with the impetus, with the pace. She's taken 2 wins on the Sunday Race Club, and she's coming onto the wheel of Vink.
Well, Ella Vink went clear at the bottom of the climb away from this Category 5 pack. She got around 14 seconds. The pack are charging now. It's a long climb. It's a steep climb at 13%. That short 800 metres feels like it takes forever, and that has benefited Anne Guiney at the moment, who is absolutely driving up the climb. She's come onto the back of Ella Vink's wheel. She's gone up and over the top. Sandra Ferron is coming as well, and Ferron is really pushing here at the moment, but Guiney is clear of Vink. You can see the shot back down the climb. She's got around 150 metres to go. I think Anne Guiney is going to keep this. I think she's going to stay clear of Vink. I don't think Ferron has got enough road to close her down. That's the UCI banner at the end of the Tel Marib course today at the 34.7 kilometre marker. Anne Guiney, Category 5, has closed down the gap to Ella Vink. She's gone up and over the top. Sandra Ferron is not going to catch her in these final few metres. Anne-Marie Guiney, Category 5, is going to take the win today in Qualifier 1 in June on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Guiney does the business on the final climb and takes the win today. Ella Vink battling for second here. Sandra Ferron coming in hard for third. Can Vink hold this? Can she hold Ferron off? Yes, she can. So Ella Vink, who took the lead at the base of the climb, comes through and is rewarded with second place. Sandra Ferron comes through for third. I think Danny Giraldo, the rider in the polka dot skin suit, is going to take fourth place today. Melanie Skitko, though, is the rider in purple. She broke away from the lead group of 3 at the base of the climb, and Skitko is going to be rewarded by the win in Category 6 today. Fabulous racing from Skitko. Great climbing ability as we see the lower places in Category 5 all come through and across the line together. Katja Jaskalainen, however, has ridden away from Musa Al-Mansouri. There she is on our screen. She's going to take second place today in that Category 6 race. Brilliant racing from Jaskalainen for that second place. Musa Al-Mansouri is going to come over the line for third. Brilliant riding from those 3 riders to go clear from the Category 6 race field.
And that's Katja Jaskalainen's best result. 2 third places prior to this have been her best placing. She's actually got 5 positions inside 4th and 5th place inside that top 5. But that's her best result yet. And it shows you that progression continues. Fantastic to see Anne-Marie doing an amazing job there. Anne-Marie Guiney, a rider who has won on Tel Marib here. She won on Dragon's Nest and on the Belgian courses as well. So clearly on a good run of form. Now let's drop down into Category 4, or further down the slopes of this Big June. Look at this. This is a big push. We've got Hyde, we've got Karauskis, we've got Gina deGrassi, Soderson, Simkin. And this is, as we've seen, it's not all over until they get in and across the line, because this is so steep for so long. getting the timing right, so key.
Well, 350 metres to go, and it is indeed Claudia Hyde who's driving on here. Isabella Kowalzuska is the rider leading the charge. And look at the size of that pack. I think this is anybody's race at the moment. Gina Van Rossum is driving and driving hard. So is Melissa Simkin. We've been in with both of those riders before and taken a look into their pain case. Gina Van Rossum, Gina De Gracia, Nina Dowling is 10 seconds back. Who is going to take this? Hyde and Kowalzuska are the two riders at the front. Simkin is on Kowalzuska's wheel. Van Rossum, De Grazia, Simkin all in the mix. The UCI banner, we can see that now, but it is still 250 metres away. That is a long period of time on this final climb. It's at 13.3%. Kowalzuska is driving, but Hyde is 9 seconds clear at the moment. I think Claudia Hyde could well have this in the bag, and the battle may be for second, third, and fourth between Kowalzuska, Simkin, Van Rossum, and Dowling. It is absolutely Category 4 climbing prowess here. It is Gina Van Rossum in the polka dot skin suit. She took that earlier on the aquarium climb and the Liwa Desert climb. This final climb does not count towards that climbing competition. Kowalzuska was the rider we were in with at that point in time, but Hyde is the rider up the road. It's a 9-second gap, and Hyde is pushing again. She's kicking for the second time to try and go clear and stay clear of this group. She wants the win. That's the finish line banner, the UCI banner that Hyde can see. She's pushing on strongly, and the pack are coming hard behind. Gina Van Rossum now leading the charge, but Claudia Hyde is going to take the win in Category 4 today. This is a superb climbing ability. Phenomenal racing here from Hyde to take the win in Category 4. Your winner today in Category 4 on the Sunday Race Club. Hyde takes the win. Simkin and Van Rossum are battling for second place ahead of the pack. Melissa Simkin, I think, is going to take that from Gina Van Rossum, from Hannah Goodall and Nina Dowling. Kowalzuska is in the mix as well. Big pack coming over the line.
And that's Claudia Hyde's 7th win on the Sunday Race Club. Her last win coming in November of 2024.
Can I just say, Category 3, the pack are rolling here and rolling strongly. This is the final climb of the day. They're coming to the top. They've got 100 metres to go, and it's Angelica Altamirano, the young rider from the Philippines. She took that under-23 national championship title earlier on this year, and she's absolutely driving now for the line. So in Category 5, it looks like that was going to be Altamirano who took the push. She's got Julia Walkenhurst for company in Category 3. Walkenhurst goes over the top of Altamirano. Shanks is there as well. Julia Walkenhurst is going to take the win, I think, in Category 3. Right before the line, she comes over the top of Altamirano. Julia Walkenhurst takes the win. Angelica Altamirano, can she hang on for second place? That is the question. I think she can. Heather Shanks is going to be in third. Then it's Bonilla who is driving for fourth here. The pack in Category 3, absolutely motoring, but it's Julia Walkenhurst who took the win. Angelica Altamirano, the young rider from the Philippines, taking second. Heather Shanks from Scotland taking third. Kim Bonilla, Altamirano's Filipino teammate, taking fourth. Lam Kong taking fifth. Daniels, Gino, Briggs, Nyquist, Sanchez, Beltrain, Vasquez, Casani, and Reese. That was close packing in Category 3.
So let's try and give you a very quick roundup of our race categories that are in so far, because we've got a little bit of a gap until Category 2. Get onto that same climbing section. Let's start off with Category 6. So Category 6, we're going to Melanie Skitko from Kachiel Yaskalina. Musan Almasori taking third place with Manon Holtman in fourth. Funichikon Sarasu in fifth place. Angie Salazano in sixth. Angelica Limbargo in seventh. Trudy Stevenson in eighth. Jessica Hamilton in ninth, and Daniela Lodano in 10th. Category 5, have you got them, Emma?
Category 5?
Category 5, and I'll do Category 4. Take it in turns.
We could do that if you
Why
like.
not?
Category 5, it was Ella Vink who took the win from Sandra Ferron. We then have Danny Giraldo, Seba Alray, Isabel Restrepo, Liz Smithson, Amy Loxley, Maria Zabala, Annalyn Tejeros, Maria Wilhelm, and Amy Sudibayo.
Okay, let's go to category 4. The winner in category 4, Claudia Hyde, taking the category 4 win from Melissa Simkin in second place, with Gina Van Rossum in third, Hannah Goodall in fourth, with Nina Dowling in fifth, Isabella Kowalska in sixth place, with Sabrina Horner in seventh, Rebecca Johnson in eighth, Emma Sonson in ninth, and Gina De Grazia rounding out the top 10 in category 4.
And in category 3, Julia Walkenhurst took the win, just pipping on the line Angelica Altamarino on the climb. Heather Shanks in 3, Kim Bonilla in 4, Lam Kong in 5, Daniels, Gino, Briggs, Nyquist, and Sanchez rounding out the top 10. Well, we're in with Katerina Karamani at the moment. You can see, look at the bikes racked there alongside, but she's slap bang in the middle of that category 2 pack on our screen at the 31.1 kilometre marker. Now, they're coming through the transition now between the Telmarie final sprint of the day and the descent into the final climb.
And we said happy riders are fast riders. Judging by that, we've got a very, very fast rider in Katerina Karamani. They're all smiles on our screens. I wonder whether those smiles will be a grimace at the top of the climb, or will it be a celebratory smile? We have yet to find out. This is the biggest pack, I think, so far coming into that final ascent.
But take a look. You just said she was smiling. Well, they're rolling around zone 2 at the moment, and her heart rate down at 146. Very much within everybody's ability in this pack. They really are having an easy run in to this final climb. This is about recovery, saving energy, and making sure you've got something for that last 150 metres, because it's that last 150 metres where we've seen the win taken.
So the very final part of the climb is where it's going to be won today. And you've got to have made the selection over the climb. So a quick reminder, we've gone through 3 sprints, the Eldar HQ sprint, the Al Hassan sprint, and the Telmarie sprint. 2 categorized climbs, the Aquarium climb and the Leeward Desert climb. The segment prizes now all allocated. The leaders' jerseys are now winners' jerseys in those competitions. All the results, of course, live and subject to verification, the AI as well as human verification process that is applied to every single rider across all of our race fields in all race categories.
So there are around 20 riders in this category 2 leading pack at the 32.1 kilometre marker. In the category 1 pack, they're just coming through the final sprint of the day, the Telmarie sprint. There you go, you can see that group. This is the category 1 group. They too are rolling fairly comfortably. Brooke is here, Guerra, Caramillo, Gallegos, Kolchinsky, Van Shaw, Bruni is in here as well. So is Fua. These riders in this category 1 pack rolling and rolling steadily. I was going to use the word strongly, but I'm going to use the word steadily, because this too is a zone 2 ride at the moment as the pack rolls comfortably towards that final 800 metre climb. It's going to be interesting to see whether anybody goes for a longer effort from this pack or tries to break clear before they go into the wall that is the final 800 metres, because otherwise I can tell you Guerra, Kolchinsky, Fua, Bruni are definitely the ones who are currently sitting here thinking about how do they come out on top.
Oh, we're just seeing one rider making the way back on to the end of this group at the moment as they make their way in and along at the moment, and that is Van Hove. But I think Goslander not in this group as we would probably expect. I think Goslander just being distanced on those climbs, and I think this group very aware that as you come through, I mean, at the moment, the time is held by Amelia Van Hove in category 1 at the moment, with the fastest time just coming back onto that group. She holds the sprint time, but Goslander not having come through so far. I suspect we'll see a sprint from her a bit later in the day. We've seen, in fact, she's 43 seconds behind Cornelia Engstrom, who's on your screen on the right-hand side at the moment, as the category 1 leaders on the left get closer and closer to that decisive point. And this is where nerves are going to start playing out as well, because you're coming into that sprint. You know that there is a very definite decisive point, whether you're in category 1 or 2. You know, if you're in that leading group, it's going to be decided in the next few kilometers. You're going to hit that climb, and You're going to have to perform.
I'll tell you people who are expected to hit the climb very shortly, and that's Bridget Kiddle, Joanna Kalman, and Katerina Karamani. The three riders on our screen at the moment, all in that big Category 2 pack. We said there were over 20 riders in that Category 2 pack at the moment. They are in the mix as they now start the descent into the final wall of the day. The 800-metre run at 10% average grade, and it kicks to over 13%. But Karamani, Kalman, and Kiddle are all in the mix. So is Kolkowitz, so is Wagner, so is Gorea, Denton, Lethbridge, Field, Eck, Manshandi, Vandervliet is in there as well. So is Miros and Eck. This is going to be an absolute eyeballs out final 800-metre kick here to the finish. And these three riders on our screen are going to be part and parcel of that mix. Kalman, look at that look on her face at the moment. She's got company in that pain cave. They've come to watch the final 800 metres and see what Joanna Kalman can do. Bridget Kiddle picks up the cadence. You can see her watching this move. They're driving on the descent, taking the momentum into the climb. It's Kiddle and Thompson. Kolkowitz is on the front. Karamani's on her wheel. They are all lining themselves up here. This is a huge kick, and this is going to be decisive.
Shandy is in this mix here. Never discount her, but it's Kiddle at the moment who's pushing up with Alice Lethbridge to the front. Lethbridge leading this out after having moved up from Category 3 to Category 2. She's shown that she's got the climbing legs engaged today. Can she make it count? Karolina Kokolowicz, though, sprinting up, trying to get alongside Thompson, doing the same. So is Kiddle. This is a drag run. Whose fuel is going to run out? Whose legs are going to go pop? Who has got this pacing to perfection? Amazing to see in the pancakes. You can see the effort that this takes just to hold the wheels. And at the moment, no one can break clear from the leading group. They're going to come round this left-hand turn. You can see that lit archway is awaiting, but it's the arch, the UCI banner they're all looking for. They'll know how far to go. Kokolowicz at the moment leading this out. We see a slight reduction, I think, in some of these riders' power, but that just means you're going to get somebody else kick, because if there's any hesitation, somebody's going to go. There are so many riders left in contention now.
There is, and there's about 250 metres to go, and the UCI banner has been sighted. It's Kolkowitz from Yaramillo, from Lethbridge, from Field. Kiddle is there, so is Miros and Manshandi. Karolina Kolkowitz is pushing on the front, and Yaramillo is hanging onto her wheel. So is Kiddle. There is still time to win this race yet. There's 150 metres to go. It's at 13%, and Bridget Kiddle is driving. Bridget Kiddle, she's the top rider on your screen on the left-hand side at the moment. She's up and out of the saddle. She's pushing on in zone 6. Kolkowitz, Yaramillo, Kiddle is there as well. These three riders now going clear, but Dana Wagner and Miros are pushing too. So is Denton and Manshandi. Lethbridge, I think, is now out of this as Field comes through, but it is Bridget Kiddle. She takes the lead as we come into the final 100 metres. Bridget Kiddle is doing the business. She's on your screen at the moment. She's in the pain cave. Kolkowitz is coming, so is Yaramillo and Wagner. Can Kiddle hold this? She's got one more kick. Bridget Kiddle is going to take the win in Category 2. What a ride. What a climb. Karolina Kolkowitz comes through for second place. That was phenomenal, and we had the inside window into Kiddle's pain cave alongside Kalman and Karamani. What a Category 2 race.
Absolutely phenomenal riding by the Category 2 riders there here today. So in terms of Category 2, a brilliant ride by Bridget Kiddle to take the win from Kokolowicz, then Wagner in third, Jaramillo in fourth, Moroz in fifth, Dagmar Shandy in sixth, Gorea in seventh, Field in eighth, Denton in ninth, Karamani in 10th place, and it was London, Lethbridge, Eck, Vittori, Vandervliet, and Kalman. That's Category 2 done and dusted. Let's get into Category 1.
Wow.
Still a huge race field. Well, as we say done and dusted, we're going to have to go watch that back to see who faded where and when. Amazing. And it just shows you Kiddle's timing. She was in the group there early, and she was in those front 3 or 5 positions Wagner came from a long way back,
She
and
did.
she wasn't in our view, in our consciousness until the very last
Well,
moment.
that last 150 meters of that 800-meter climb are proving to be really instrumental. You can absolutely blow in that last 150 meters, and you can also come through and shine. And that is what's going to be interesting. Now, we've got 13 riders in this leading group in category 1, and you can see there we go. We have just brought up the riders on your screen. So we've got Liz Van Hooling at the top, Gabby Guerra in the middle, Catherine Fua on the bottom. The riders have done the descent. They're about to kick into the final climb, and it is Fua on the front here with Bruni, Brooke, Van Shaw. Kolchinsky is there as well. Guerra is now at the top of the tree in the polka dot skin suit. Big push from Gabby Guerra, absolutely wanting to be dominant. You can see her up and out the saddle. She's the middle rider on our screen on the left-hand side. She is in the polka dot skin suit. Catherine Fua, the rider at the bottom, she took away the drive and the bronze medal in that World Championships to Gabby Guerra's silver. These riders being joined by Van Shaw at the moment.
So here we go. The riders are on the way up the climb. Gabby Guerra, who's been sprinting away up the climbs and taking the wins, racing outdoors during the week. Out of the saddle here, using that explosive power. Will it be lucky win number 7 for her? She's kicking down hard, and that distance has increased behind Fua, holding second place, but Brody is coming. Kolchinsky is not out of the podium positions. Neither is Van Shaw. Van Heuling, I think, now just distance, but Gabby Guerra has to hold this to the top. You can hemorrhage time on the top of the climb, but that is massive, the gap. A huge kick from Guerra, and that really, I think, surely seals this, Emma.
Well, the grimace on her face in the pain cave at the moment tells you the story of the climb as Guerra pushes on and drives towards the UCI banner. She wants the win today. Fua, Bruni, Kolchinsky, Van Hooling lining up behind her at the moment, but Guerra continues to drive. You can see the work from all three riders being done on the left-hand side of your screen, but it's Gabby Guerra in the middle who's going to take the win today in Category 1 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Qualifier 1 in June goes to Gabby Guerra on the climb. Catherine Fua closing it down behind, though. Look at the push from Catherine Fua. Second place coming to for Fua, as it is indeed a fight for third. Bruni, Kolchinsky, Van Hooling. What a push, what a drive. Kelsey J. Van Shaw, Elise Gallegos, Camilla Olberg are all in the mix as we watch Van Hooling come over the line. Matt, have you got those results?
Well, they're coming in, and the computer, I think, struggling to keep up with the pace of the riders on that climb. I have to say, Gabby Guerra taking the win there, 56 minutes, 29 seconds. Her winning time coming in just under 5 seconds clear of Catherine Fua in second, Mel Bruni in third. It's Kristen Kolchinsky in fourth, Liz Van Heuling in fifth, Kelsey J. Van Shaw in sixth, Elise Gallegos in seventh, Camilla Alberg in eighth, Lizzie Brooke in ninth, and Anna Caramello in 10th. So indeed, the 7th win on the Sunday Race Club for Gabby Guerra. Lucky number 7. Indeed, it was fantastic racing from the riders in their respective categories, in categories 1 right the way through to 6. Amazing racing on the women's race here today. Emma, what a way to kick off June.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. You know what? We've been to this course in Telmarib 3 times now on the Sunday Race Club. And in that women's category 1 race, we've had 3 different winners. McCarthy took it in qualifier 4 in March. Holdcroft took it qualifier 3 in April. And qualifier 1 in June. It goes to Guerra.
Well, it's a big entertainment bar that has been raised for the men to match. They course, it's going to be back in Telmarib. Emma and I will be bringing you the action. You can follow Emma at biking_. Emma, you can follow myself at Matt Fitzpaine. Make sure that you give MyWhoosh a follow at MyWhoosh for more announcements and more updates. And of course, hit that subscribe button on YouTube to make sure that you are advised as soon as all of those streams go live for the Sunday Race Club for the World Championships. And of course, with lots of great updates on what's happening on MyWhoosh. Download the app on iOS, on Android, or on your PC on Windows. However you want to get on board, jump on board. Thank you to our riders for entertaining us. Thank you very much to the team behind the scenes. And of course, a big thank you to you for watching. I hope you will join us for the men's race. That's coming up very shortly indeed. We're going to take a short break, get refueled, get hydrated. Our riders will be getting ready for their race. But from Emma and myself, we'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So hello and welcome back to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier race number 1. My name's Matt Payne. I'm here with Emma Martin. We've just seen an incredible women's race. And in fact, I was just taking a look at the sprint competition because we'd seen Jennifer Goslander, as we'd left it, was potentially going to be taking that away. She has actually taken away the win. In fact, of the 6 categories, 5 of the sprint winners taking all 3 sprints in the women's race. Will the men's race be the same? Well, it can't be exactly the same. Only 2 sprints
There
today in
are
the
only
men's
2
rather
sprints.
than 3. But will we see sprint domination or will it be about those climbs, Emma?
Well, 45 kilometres of racing, 532 metres. They do come out at that start pen. It is rolling for the first 12 kilometres through that Aldar HQ sprint, then up the aquarium climb, the first of 3 categorised climbs today. 3.2 kilometres at 2.5% average gradient. We may see riders come off the back, but probably not off the front. They drop down then into the Leeward Desert climb. It's a bit of a sting in the tail, that one. It's only short. It is 2 kilometres, but there is a flat plateau 2/3 of the way up. They then transition through the Tel Marib sprint and into the Tel Marib dunes. Multiple climbs, 1, 2, 3 big ones. The third one is indeed a categorised climb at 10%, but it's not the only 10% climb they're going to face before the 5-kilometre run to the finish line.
Let's see how our categories get on. 6 categories as we move through in 2025. Our BMC 6s on the start line, along with Cycling District 6, the Level Beginning Squad, Spinergy, Wheelies Racing, and ZTBRE Cycling. All down on that start line. Some big squads. Wheelies Racing with 4 riders and Cycling District with 4 riders as well. In our Category 6 race, it'll be very interesting to see whether those team tactics play out. It's time to go racing once again in Arabia on the Tel Marib course. 45 kilometres distance, 532 metres of ascent. This is going to be really critical for me, staying in with the group. And we know that the riders tend to start like an absolute rocket. And we've seen the same again, Emma.
Well, we are indeed 48 riders on the start sheets in Category 6, and one of them absolutely dialing it off the front at the moment. We're in with Breck McMurtry, part and parcel of the pack. Now, we've got some interesting riders here on the start sheet. So, Miley Rostic, I've seen him in the pack. Congratulations. He took the win in the May final last week. Great racing. And from that Millerstick family, it is an ever dominant family. Category 6, Category 2, and Category 1, there is representation from that family. Tom Harvey on the front at the moment. David Winfield. Roshan Raj Teron is in there as well. Now, Alexander Fiedler took 2nd place last week. Diego Gomez took 3rd. Sebastian Wolf took 4th, and David Milano took 5th. Matthew Hooker took the sprint competition. They are all on the start sheets today, along with a plethora of fast and furious racers.
A plethora of fast and furious racers.
Yes.
Indeed. Spiffing stuff here today. Good to see Roshan Raj Teron in the race pack, just leading this group out and away from Wojciech Sebs. Looks like a big pack joining us here today. And it's a big start list here in Category 6. But for me, I think this is a race route where, having raced on it before, you're going to know how hard to go. And Wojciech Sebs, it's really interesting. I got a quick message from him on Instagram. It was very good to see. Take me in on one of his posts. His setup for today. It's a combination of focused and fanfest. Focused on the racing and fanfest for the UAE squad. And I've got to say, if like me, and I'm sure Wojciech has been watching the Giro, I'm just going to say my predictions of it being an amazing second week were correct. And I'm going to take it as a win. That although I do know Tom personally, I said he was hemorrhaging time. Somebody pulled me up on that, and he then continued to hemorrhage time. I'm sure Tom will be back as his irrepressible self. But fantastic racing, and I've got to say, amazing Isaac Del Toro. What a rider! What a result! If you were ever worried what will happen to cycling when Tadej Pogacar decides to hang up his wheels. Oh my goodness, 21 years old and absolutely flying. A real character, and characters are what make cycling a nice guys. What makes cycling? Jeff Rudy, another of our characters, another of our nice guys here on our screens as well in Category 6. Not so much UAE Fan Fest, though, I have to say, as what Seb's set up.
No, but it is indeed a great pain cave. I do
Yeah.
love that little window into Riders Pain Caves. And at the moment, it's Salmian who's pushing on at the front here. Brendan Green coming across really fast at the moment. Green dialing it to close down to Salomon's wheel. The push is on. Sebsa's coming as well as Lascano. Winfield, Olsen, Newman back in the pack. This is a real interesting moment, actually. Now we are at the 2.3 kilometre marker. We're coming forward to the Aldar HQ sprint. Now, anybody who is strong on their sprint tactics on MyWhoosh will know that you need the benefit of the draft to get a faster time. Otherwise, you're dialing it with the power, but not making the best of the other factors enabling you.
I think Brendan Green wanted to go and take this race on for the start. I think, if I'm not much mistaken, this is his first Sunday Race Club. So Green, very eager to get into the racing, which is totally understandable when you are on your first race. But it's experienced riders like Matthew Hooker, I think, who are going to take that sprint using those tactics you talked about there, Emma. And Hooker with that green jersey is the fastest through the segment.
Well, Hooker took the sprint competition in the final last month. He's also ever dominant in that sprint competition in Category 6. Really, really strong sprinter, knows what he's doing. As we have the Category 5 teams come up on the screen.
Indeed, BMC with 3 teams, the BMC squad, the BMC High 5 squad, and in fact the BMC Rule 5 squad actually are part of this race field. We've also got Cycling District 5. They have tied with Level Up in terms of numbers. So Ola Warren, Rudolph Bertrand and Nathan Peterson for the Level Up squad. Cycling District 5 with Morato Silva and Sicilianus. Team Velos Chile represented by Fabian Tapia, and upcycled by Drummond and Mohamed Mukhtari, who had a good week racing last week. Category 5, up and away out from the start, and great to see that Cycling District team. Just taking a double check, they have got a team in every single race category today.
And can I tell you, one of the things I really, really am loving at the moment is the teams. They are really starting to build momentum and build squads to cope with the movement across categories.
Yes.
And that's what the Cycling District team are doing. So rather than just having one squad in one category, they are really starting to learn that the riders are moving, they're progressing, they're shifting, and it's a moving feast. And hence having a team across categories allows you to move that squad and play around with it as they move and progress. So Cycling District, congratulations. Fabulous to see. And I'm looking forward to more and more teams having squads that span categories.
Yes.
They are on their way.
They are coming, indeed, and you can pick up a lot of the club detail on the MyWhooshinfo.com page as well.
Well, Category 5 today, 44 riders on the start sheets. It is actually one of our smallest race fields today. Interesting. Now, Adam Dawson took the win last month. He's on the start sheet for BMC Rule 5. Nathan Peterson, who took 4th, is here. Jean Yaki, who took 5th. Justin Roy took 3rd. He's here as well. Always good to see.
Now, Rudolph Bertrand in here for the Level Up squad on your screens, on the left-hand side of your screen. And his avatar are in the centre of this bigger pack at the moment on the right. And you can see the focus there. Just keeping an eye on the screens as well as on the racing for that Level Racing squad.
Just sorting the jersey out.
Yeah, indeed. It's good to see. I mean, Level Racing have been supporting the Level Racing team's been supporting the racing for a long, long time now. Great to see that continue.
Yep, it is indeed. And Martin Wang just on the front at the moment, stretching his legs. Bertrand into Erasmus there as well. Clendenin, Robin is there as well. Robin, one of the ever regulars on my Monday and Wednesday live coaching sessions. Great to see him here in the mix as well. Friedrich is here as well. Dadson, Mark Dadson. Now that's an ever-present name.
Mark Dadson must be high on the list of riders who have been here for some time.
How many races has Mark Dadson done? Matt is just going to consult his computer while we're in with Dadson at the moment. Peterson is there, Roy is there, Mountier is there as well. Ola Warren is in the mix too. It's just a strong pack. Rod Loxley is in the mix here in Category 5. It's a great group of riders.
Mark Dadson, 127 participations, according to MyWhoosh.com, with 11 wins, 9 second places, 8 third places, and 21 fourth or fifth places. So that's 22, 31, 39 out
Top
of
fives.
39 top 5 places out of 127. So by my reckoning, that's like a third. That's pretty good going.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
Yeah, 0.307 something or other.
Something like that.
I'm glad I could see your calculator then. My maths is definitely not that good. As I said earlier in the women's show, having a bad maths day.
Well, I'll tell you something that's really good is we've got the likes of Mark Dadson with 127 participations right in the mix here with riders who are new today.
Yeah, brand new riders. Now let's see who's going to go take on this sprint. The first of our sprints coming at that 2.5 to 2.7 kilometre mark, a 200-metre sprint. At the moment, you can just see we're in with Clinton Dave Cirillo, and at the moment he has gone through first, but it's Patrick Mortek who was shadowing him, who took the jersey initially, but it's gone across to Clinton Dave Cirillo. I suspect those times will be super tight between those two riders.
Wow.
Hardly anything to separate them. We may well revisit that, but first let's dive in with Category 4. Riders who are lined up on that start line. The BMC Racing squad here with Cadiz Pino and Giuliano. Cycling District represented by Marencio and Castro. Dirt first by Thompson and Fitzia. We've got Souza for the Inner Fight squad. Svart for Level Racing. Peak Power Racing have 2 riders in Van der Sant and Trujillo. And then we've got Rusamaki riding for Ride Club Finland and Gomez de Alameda for the Anzac squad. Category 4, the third of our 6 race categories. It's time to leave the pen, head out onto a race route. They'll see those UCI banners next when they get to the finish of our race in some 45 kilometres time.
Well, 45 riders on the start sheets in Category 4 today. So there's a little bit of symmetry in that, and not a lot of the riders from the top 5 last week on the start sheets in Category 4, and I'll tell you why. So Van der Zandt, who took 4th place for Peak Power Racing, is here. So is Nicholas Spratt, who took 5th place in the Category 4 race. And the reason why is because we've seen progression. Now, I'm going to mention first, Nick Scolari has gone up to Category 3. I think that has been coming for some time now because he has just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Buama is on our screens at the moment. He's at the front of the Category 4 pack. The rider who was at the front of the Category 4 pack last week, Dylan Kennett, has gone up to Category 3. Now, Dylan and I, as those of you who have been tuning in, have had some argy-bargy about where he's going to finish up on the Sunday Race Club. He joined Category 6. He's now moved to Category 3. He told me Category 4 was going to be his top level limit. Well, we've just broken that, Dylan. You're now in Category 3.
And where did you say it go to?
I foresee him ending up in Category 2.
Oh, you've changed your...
No.
Oh. Is that what you said all along? You'd be a Cat 2?
I think I said he'd do Category 3, but as the weeks have progressed, I now think he's going to be Category 4.
We will see. We will see. Now, interested in with Nicholas Hagland here, already off the front of this race group, just really winding this up, looking to take this out early on and really make the racing hard. We'll see if he can hold that pace. Can he provoke a response? At the moment behind it, they have lifted the pace, and it looks like it is Burma, who we just saw on our screens, with Vargas and Van Aert leading the charge behind, but no real bridge across here as a crazy sprint. And it could be a long solo attack. I'm sure he wanted to pull maybe 1 or 2 riders. It's a long way to go on your own. Unless you want a bit of time to sort of, peruse the Ferrari garage on the way. Maybe Nicholas is after a new Ferrari and wanted a little bit of time to peruse the goods in the store.
Rick Van Erck has come over and closed the gap. So has Buama, Diego Vargas as well. And what I loved was the fact that we're seeing these riders come into the showroom, and look, there you go, down the road, there he is, and those riders pushing on into that showroom as Haglund coming out of it.
Yeah, Nicholas Hagland on his way out as the rest of the group come in. We'll see what they do here. It's going to be interesting to see whether they close that down or whether they leave that as is. Whilst these riders just make the way, we're currently at the 2 kilometre mark, about 500 metres, very quick roundup. Cirillo from Mortec, from Broadbent, Ferdinand and Silver with the top 5 in the sprints in category 5. Category 6 was Hooker from Milostic, from Driscoll, Mamba, and Sobrino. They're the riders who have taken points 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points available in each sprint for that sprint competition. As I mentioned at the head of the show, you can take maximum points and take away the win, each segment being a prize, and the overall in the sprints a prize as well in each of our categories. We're coming into the sprint, and at
Rick
the
Van
moment,
Erck is closing down Nicholas Hagland.
he is indeed, and Johan Moreno, he's on his wheels, but they're just coming into the sprint, and the pack is going to come from behind, and I think that means that one of our runners from the back is likely to kick his way through. Will it be Giuliano?
Oh, look at that drive.
12
and
a half
the
watts
fact
a
that
kilo.
Hagland was down the road just gave him beautiful run into the back wheel to pick up that draft and to carry it through. But Giuliano is not going to take the sprint competition because Jonas Goman has come through that pack and picked up that green skin suit. Luis Castro from Cycling District 4 doing a sterling job as well, along with Eben Svart.
Then it was Giuliano coming through and Uin Joe who took those sprint points. As we move on to category 3, the Anzac squad here represented by Bloom. We've got Level Golden, Rushman and Philo Sirocco with Batty and Fell. Then the big squads. What's up with 3 riders, Montoya, Stewart and Clays. And the Cycling District with 4 riders, Oliveira, Andrade and 2, Pierres Marcos and Pedro, both are representing them, all from Portugal. Will it be Cycling Districts Day? Will this be their new home turf, or will they feel that they are not able to make it their own? Time to go racing in category 3. We're in with Lewis Ridley as we head out from those pens. A rider who I think needs another step up. He was going really strong. He seemed to plateau a little bit, and I think he's about ready for that next kick.
Ooh.
I think he could well be. We're going to see Ridley take another step up again.
There's a prediction.
There you go.
Well, Matt's making predictions in the corner of the studio.
Before
Nicholas Orrego, Pedro Piera, all in the mix. JJ Miller having a great start at the moment, right at the front of the pack. Cansara is there. Patterson is there as well. Oviedo is in the mix too, as well as Montoya and Goodall. Pierre Fell is there. The riders really, really pushing on. In fact, Dylan Kennett, the rider who has come up from category 4 to category 3, right on the front of the group. Can I just say it's also fabulous to have some new riders in category 3 as well, and we do indeed. Suleiman Minal is on the front of the group at the moment, and one of the newer riders to the Sunday Race Club. Welcome, everybody. If we don't welcome you the week you join, apologies. But welcome everybody who has joined recently to the Sunday Race Club. It's fabulous to have you on board.
We do try and see, cover, talk about absolutely everybody.
That's a very hard thing to do, but
yeah, we kind of fail pretty miserably at it sometimes, but that is just the way.
Failure is part of life.
I also take it that it's a great thing because there's so many more new riders, people jumping on board, having a go, and coming and having a try. And if we had 4 riders or 5 riders, or we just focused on one category, then
I reckon
it would be easier for us, but it wouldn't be half as much fun for everybody.
Here's something for MyWhoosh Info to take a look at. If everybody who had ever raced the Sunday Race Club turned up on a Sunday, how many riders would that be? I reckon it's got to be over 1,000.
I dread to think. It'd be an interesting one. We will find out at some point. You never know. We might even bring you the numbers in the future. Now, in with Luis Andrade, one of those riders, part of that Cycling District squad. He's here on our screens on the left-hand side. That's a great screen behind, sir.
It is, isn't it?
It is indeed. You can just see microphone in front as well. Got the Shocks headset on as well, so you can hear and hear us as well. Good to see you. And I'm waving, but Em never waves. use a camera when nobody can see it. I always wave, so good to see you. So part of that cycling district squad, they're captained and DS by Luis Silva today. And don't forget, get in touch with us. Let us know if your squad's in there and they're racing. Maybe let us in on some sneaky tactics. Just make sure you say, don't put this on air. Because if you send us something, you never know what will happen unless you tell us. And if you do tell us,
that's a seriously good message.
It is one of our golden rules. If you tell us not to say anything, we won't.
But if you don't tell us not to say anything, it's highly likely we will.
Quite possibly so. We will find out. Now, we are heading out with Category 3. The gaps between our groups on Category 6 to Category 5, we had a 5-minute gap. Between Category 5 and Category 4, it's a 5-minute gap. Between Category 4 and Category 3, a 5-minute gap. But we now have a 10-minute gap between the start that we saw from Category 3 to our Category 2 riders. We're in with one of our regulars, Ivo Schoen. Ivo, he's a rider who, apart from the fact that we reference Ivo the tank engine, Ivo is a fantastic rider. And I'll tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
He's a rider who is always in the mix. He's always battling there or thereabouts.
Well, can I tell you, Category 3 for me, everybody, well, not everybody, but lots of riders are so strong in this category. Last week in the May final, 1 second separated the top 14 riders. That tells you how close this category is, and that a lot of riders are normally always in the mix. Ivo Sur is one of them. Last week it was Becker from Kaplinski, from Diduch, from Barrett, from Guarin. They were the top 5. 3.2 seconds separated the gold grabbers from what's up in the team competition, and take that, we're only 15 seconds further back. The strength and depth in Category 3 is phenomenal, and Ivo Sur, one of those. Walter Clays is also one of those riders, and take a look at that. He's in the green skin suit. That was some sprint performance.
It is indeed. He's absolutely gone flying on around the race route here, taking that sprint there. Nicholas Furrier, very, very close indeed. I think Furrier, one of the chasers who came through there. I'm sure Nicholas Furrier, is he not a coach?
Yes, he is indeed. New coach on the MyWhoosh live coaching. Fabulous to have him on board. The live coaching been absolutely a brilliant thing to do. I have absolutely seems to be my word of the day at the moment. Absolutely enjoyed doing it, and it's been really good to see some of our riders dropping into those sessions. Nicholas Hagland, we can see yet again dialing it on the front of the Category 4 pack. You can see 6, 5, 4, and 3 now out the start pens. I'm just looking, there's a little bit of deja vu because it's Rick Van Erck on the front of the pack behind as well.
Maybe these two have a little bit of a battle to see who can go clear. Now, interesting to see in front of the race, though, riding in number 1 position, Rennie Olsen at the moment from Bread Sensing. These two riders with a 10-second gap on the budge in Category 6. Now, this Aquarian climb, Emma said at the start of the women's show, if you weren't here with us for that, why not? Go back and have a watch. It was great racing. Yeah, she said there that this climb is all about who gets dropped, about staying in contention. It's not about breaking away. And even when we see a move on the front, it's rare it stays. But interestingly, in Category 6, that's what happened. We got 3 riders go clear in the women's race. It looks like we've got a breakaway here in Category 6. Do you think that's category specific? It's more likely to happen in categories 5 and 6, say, than it is in categories 1 and 2?
Short answer or long answer?
Both.
Short answer, yes.
Long answer?
Long answer, because the way the categories are formulated, Category 6 and Category 5, I think, are less tightly bunched. We've got very, very small ranges on 1, 2, 3, and 4. More of a range on 5 and 6, and that is the reason why. Simon Llewellyn in the pack, and you can see, look at that effort on his face, the concentration. He's in the pack. He's sitting in the group. He's riding really strongly at the moment. He's keeping where he needs to be.
And his pain cave situated down in the garage there?
Yes, because you can see the garage door opener on the ceiling.
I thought it was being all clever noticing that, and you got this one. No, it's pretty obvious, wasn't it? Okay, now we're just taking a look at the top right-hand corner of your screen. You can see that radar view. Each of the riders represented by a purple disc. In Category 6, the disc in the colour of the category the riders are. You can see that this big bunch in the centre of that screen all together with riders dotted behind them who've been distanced on the course. The two leaders just up the road, but they've still got quite a way to go to the summit. That gap still holding at the moment. This pack still chasing on at the moment in category 6. And at the moment, that gap, it's looking good. We're just going to jump in with Maxime Farah at the moment, the Frenchman with the fan rolling. Quite warm today in France, pretty much across the nation. And it does mean that keeping it hydrated is going to be absolutely key. Interesting, he's going for the natural fueling option of bananas.
I know, I noticed that. Lots of potassium, great, good fuel.
Yeah, lots of potassium. Good for stopping cramp as well.
Yes.
Some people swear by milk, some by bananas.
And do you know what I like for cramp?
What?
Magnesium spray.
Right, okay, to spray onto the muscle.
Yes. Not obviously, no, I don't spray it into my mouth. I put it on the muscle afterwards and does stop cramping. Rennie Olsen and Brent Sensing, we saw them push away at the beginning of the climb from the Category 6 packs, and they have stayed clear. They're 14 seconds clear of the chasing group being led by de Manuan. Pablo de Manuan's had some brilliant races recently over the last couple of months. David Milano is there. David Winfield is there as well. So is Sebastian Wolf. The question really is will Sensing and Olsen stay clear? They're coming towards the top of the aquarium climb. Still a little way to go, around 800 metres. They'll then take the descent into the Leeward Desert climb, which is short, sharp and nasty. There's then a long transition before they go into Tel Marie, but those two wanting to stay clear, I think, and trying to work together.
Well, we'll see if they hold it together as we move on to category 2. We have our squads in here. So the team with the biggest volume of riders, in fact, Smarties squad with base in the team, Betty, Ritter and Walter. Sandstorm represented by Nathan Guerra. The Hitmen by Ross Fawcett, Tatu Coyton. The UAE Falcons by Ahmed Al-Tanaji and Zaid Hamdan. Cycling District team have 3 riders in category 2. Pinto, Dan and Coimbra, and of course the UAE clan team are here. Mr. X100, Pavlo Popovic and SS all in and due to race. We're in with Olivier Simmons, who currently not ready for a team today, but he is a one-man, pretty much hitman team, it has to be said, because he goes out and he scores time and time again. A one-man, well, sprints, climbs. In fact, today, it is a course that could well suit Olivier, also known as Bigley, by Emma and Olivier and Ollie to his friends, is one of those riders who I think could well and truly perform on a course like it's his skill set. Climbs of up to sort of 3.5K, short, sharp climbs, lots of aggressive racing. That you could almost describe a perfect course there for a number of riders, but Simmons is one, and I think that's going to play to his strengths. SS is another.
I agree, and we talked about 1 second separating the top 14 in category 3. 1 second also separated the top 14 in category 2 last week. Coyston and Bjarhead, Damsgaard, Theme and SS ended up the top 5. But if you thought 3.2 seconds was nothing between the gold grabbers and what's up in category 3, take a listen to this. The Goats team last week in category 2 took the win from Abus Esports by 1.5 seconds. The Hitmen were at 2.2 seconds in 3rd place. That is how close category 2 was last week. Phenomenal racing in the May final. Brilliant riding here. And I'll tell you something is going to be interesting as well. Nathan Guerra has come up from category 3. So has Travis Barrett and Jan Kaplinski. They are going to be great additions to category 2.
I think they're going to really mix things up, and be interesting to see how they approach that as well. Now we're just in with David Nitko at the moment, one of our regulars on screen in the pack, having a regular animator of the racing already. It's being fired up, and again, it's the slight rises on this early run towards the sprint and in are already triggering riders. Some riders are really, really using them to their advantage.
But this is
those
so
little
different.
kicks, those little drops.
Take a look at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Look at the stretch on that group. It's not even like there's one or two riders clear like we've seen in the attacks in Category 4. This is a long train of riders, and they are dialing it on the front at the moment. Phil Graves, yourself, Betty, Patrick Stepanak, Jeffrey Milieu, who we saw sprinting really strongly last week. There we go. We're going in with Betty at the moment. He's not even taken his warm-up jersey off yet.
No, I was going to say, I hope it's like Baltic where he is, because he's got the big long jersey on the top. I can't imagine that's going to stay on. Josiah Betty, a rider who's ridden 81 Sunday race clubs so far, 6 wins, 4 second places, 3 third places, and 7 top 5s in addition to that as well. Interestingly, he's a rider who we know can go right up at the top, but just on a dip in form at the moment. I think may well just be that he's going to need to just start pulling back. His last win, in fact, came back in January.
Well, we often say you've got to think about phases of the year. You can't think about being on top form week in, week out for 12 months. It just doesn't work that way. And you've got to manage a year to stay fresh and to stay well. Well, Olivier Bigley Simmons is bigging it up at the moment because he's now in that green skin suit.
He is. Yes. I was just looking at the screen thinking he's going to be absolutely fine.
He's changed.
He was
because
in the skin suit.
Maciej Skierski has pipped him at the post, and Skierski doing that by being further back in the group and coming through that big group, because Simmons average watts per kilo 15 watts per kilo, Skierski 13.1. Used the draft Maciej. That's what he did.
He did indeed use the draft. Remember, words like force and lightsabers and anything else were all reserved for May. Okay, let's dive across into the top category, into our elite riders. Is category 1. They are going to be wearing that yellow jersey. Leonard Chugels, representing the Airbus Esports, is here. He's a one-man squad along with Union's Speed Squad rider Joel Lewis. Now Pedersen, representing the Wenger boys. Cycling District 1 with 2 riders, Alvarado and Machado. And we have got 3 riders, though, from Alpha Joe, Lionel Vajassi, Mikhail Kaminsky, and Ollie Jones. With 4 riders, we have got Osborne, Knudsen, Vink, and Safrazadi in the Boss Moves only squad. And with 4 riders, the Farm Watt squads, Andreasen, Noren, Harris, and Plantero on the start list. As they set off here, there are some notable absentees, one of which we're going to send a get well to.
Well,
carry on.
Yes,
you know who I mean.
Yeah, I do. I think you're inferring Mr. Hayden Parker, who did the unbound gravel and had a little instant at 6 miles and then carried on riding for another 194.
Yes.
I would say congratulations. What grit, determination and resilience you have. Absolutely brilliant. Mend quick. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'm going to say you absolute nutcase. Carrying on
Legend.
riding with those injuries. But there you go.
We've all done it.
No, we haven't.
Oh.
When my side looked like a piece of raw beef, I generally get off the bike. But he was looking a really, really. He wasn't looking cooked. He was looking medium rare. I'll tell you something. One of our regular riders, and that we wish him well. Recover soon. I'm sure he'll be back kicking out the watts on the Sunday Race Club before he goes back out and has a little bit of a cuddle with the floor.
Well, I've cuddled the floor many times racing. Sometimes I've got up and sometimes I haven't. But Michael Knudsen at the moment is dialing it on the front of the Category 1 race pack at the moment. Jason Osborne, Christoph Kroll, Stefan van Elst, Ricardo Panizza and Linda Milostic all in there. Now, Jason Osborne took the win last week in the May final. He is here. No Marshall Wu, who took 2nd place. Sai Safrazadi, who took 3rd, is here. So is Ollie Jones, who took 4th, and Mikhail Kaminsky, who took 5th. We've been on this Tel Marib course in Arabia twice. Both times Jason Osborne has taken the win. The first time back in Qualifier 2 in January. The second time was Qualifier 3 in April. This is Qualifier 1 in June. Can we add a different name to that top of Category 1 list?
Can or will are two very different things. Can, yes. Will, not so sure about that. Osborne has been showing he's on form. For me, it's down to these riders to really take it to them in the form of Bjorn Andreasen at the moment, really ripping this up. We saw Michael Knudsen on the attack early. He was pushing out. And I think whilst Knudsen is on the same team as Osborne, I think they're looking to make the racing hard. And
Yes.
I think the harder it is, the more likely you are to expose the cracks in even a world champion.
Yeah, because there's a tendency on this course, and I am going to caveat this as we're talking about Category 1. The aquarium climb, I wouldn't expect us to lose anybody off the aquarium climb unless they're choosing to have an easier day. The Leeward Desert climb is short and sharp. Quite similar again. Michael Vink, there we go. He's in his pain cave, big screen in front of him. Last time we were here, it was Osborne and Vink who went head to head on this course. For me, the key part of this course for Category 1 is the back third when we come into the Tel Marib desert section, those three short, sharp climbs. The first one, 800 metres at 10%. Then we've got the smallest one at 600 metres, but it's still steep. And then the bigger climb, the Tel Marib Dune climb, which is categorised today, 1 kilometre at over 10%. You would naturally think that's where this race is going to be sorted out. But looking at it, you've got to shake it up. And as a Category 1 rider, you're going, well, we're not really going to wait till the final third of the race, are we? Because that's putting too much high risk in, because there'll be too many people there with fresh legs if we zone 1, zone 2 it till we get there. So let's play around with this and let's mix it up. And Alexei Kalman is part and parcel of the mix with Bjorn Andreasen and Jasper Paradians, who have all gone through that first sprint. Paradians in the green skin suit. Well, I am not surprised at that. But have you taken a look at the power?
Yes, I have. He averaged through there 1,135 watts. Absolutely heart rate up, but very, very high as well for Jasper Paradins at 188. Very interesting that we on his way through, we were following Alexei Kalman actually going through the bunch there. And Kalman looked like he was on a blisteringly quick time, but his time was only second in the Category 1 race. Paradins with the fastest time, bar none. Nobody getting closer to him. But Kalman with only the 9th fastest time overall. It shows you just how different it can be when you've got different sizes of packs in and racing.
Well, Lana Yassin on our screens at the moment, part and parcel of that Alpha Jaw squad. They were second in the team competition last week, 2 boss moves only, 1 minute 11 seconds back. But for Yassin himself, a strong rider, and you can see the concentration on his face. Joel Lewis just in front of him, his teammate Ollie Jones is there, Ricardo Panizza, Stuart Miller, all in the pack. Now it's Johan Noren that they're chasing at the moment. He's the rider down the road. Noren, part of that Farm Waltz squad, the same team as Bjorn Andreasen, and we saw him push on earlier too.
Yeah, just exactly what I was thinking. We've got this. We're starting to see these tactics where Farm Watts are starting to try and mix this up, and you'll notice that they're going to be sitting back, taking an easy ride. It's not in their interest to go chase down their teammate. Bridge across, maybe without taking the world champion. Yes, do that without taking the world champion. Difficult though, very, very tough. So interesting. Noren's gone down the road. They'll give him some room. Hopefully, if that team tactic plays out for them, but the rest of the teams at some point will go, yeah, that's enough time to get you back in. Now, let's go across from Category 1 to Category 2, where nobody has managed to escape the clutches of the pack at the moment. Despite repeated attempts off the front, we are still seeing this group basically together. So you see Downey at the moment trying to open this up. Andrew Downey, a regular strong rider. Will it be his day today? Well, it's a course that could well suit Andrew Downey. He's got a punch, he's got a kick, he can climb. Will it be enough? We will have to see, because I think with this big group all together, it could well come down, as Emma has said, towards the end of this race route and the 3 climbs that culminate in that Tel Marib Dune climb.
Oh, Category 2, Ivan Nuki, Andrew Downey. pack is coming back. Betty's at the front, Holweiler, Skierski, Krasnich, Allenjung, all in the mix here. Now, one of the things you can see, Ivan Nuki just pushing on there up to zone 5, zone 6. And you can see the power that the riders are putting in. So Nuki at the moment highlighted in blue, his name. Above the name bar, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 zones that are available. And the highlights changing. That's the power relative to the rider that we are seeing highlighted in blue. So you can see how hard that individual is working. And at the moment, Ivan Nuki is dialing it on the front of that squad.
And this suits Ivan Nuki's strength and power. I had a great message from Ivan. Thank you very much for sending it through, Ivan. Do try and reply to all. Don't. I have to admit, I fail miserably at replying to every single message on the way through, but I read every single one of them. Interesting. He's dialing in his strengths. He's racing to his strengths, and he'll be making people expend energy that they could maybe need to keep in reserve. And that's going to be a much more important tactic, I think, today, making people expend energy when they don't
this is a
want
rider.
to.
This is a rider who is having a really interesting race. Suleiman Minal at the moment in Category 3, continuing to push. And Ramirez is here, Rushmore is here, Kalman, Ridley and Fell. That pack is hunting behind.
They are, and I think it'll be really interesting to see whether or not they pull him back in, at what point they pull him back in as they come in. So just going to have to see what he does and whether he stays clear. They're coming up to the top of the summit here, and it's going to be from that pack that we're going to be looking to see who's going to take away the top spot here in terms of the King of the Mountains, the climbs competition here. The Aquarium Climb banner comes. The sprint comes from the group. Will it be from the group? Will it be our lone leader who's going to take that? At the moment, it's showing us Suleiman, who has that jersey. But of course, we have still got 2 more climbs to come in terms of who is going to take that overall. The Aquarium Climb, very, very decisive. So that's Category 3 over the top of the climb. Emma, should we just...
can I just tell you, there's 41 riders in that Category 3 pack still.
41 riders in that pack. So
I told you they were closely
I'm going to very quickly run through the point scorers. Category 6 on that climb out was Truba from Wolf, from Mercy, from Winfield and Manuan. In Category 5 on the very first of our climbs on the Aquarium Climb. In Category 5, it was Clendinen from Muktari, from Kruwanos, Yannick and Cirillo. In Category 4, on that Aquarium Climb, at Chigillo from Sprat Giuliano, and then Younger You, followed by Cadiz. Then in Category 3, we just see them go over the top. Suleiman Minul from Andrade, from Squillari, from Brun, from Restrepo. They're the point scorers so far, but it's not far from there to this climb where Category 4 are at the moment. And that is the climb of the Liwa Desert Climb. And at the moment, you can see Ryan Giuliano in this leading group. Certainly one where Ryan is today. That bottle for hydration tucked up by the side there. He's going to be using plenty of fluids today as he makes his way up over the first part onto this flatter section. Now, this is where, if you're lucky, you'll get some recovery. If you're not lucky, you're going to be kept on the edge by those riders who can keep the pace and accelerate up into this next climb section. This is a very different beast to the Aquarium Climb, even though they are both steps.
Hugely. That is the only similarity with them, that there are steps in the climb with some respite. The gradient on this one, so steep, and now they're coming towards the top, but you can take a look at the top right-hand corner. The pack who'd come in Category 4, now split in 3. This is Category 5. They're at the 23.7 kilometre marker. They are well and truly past the Liwa Desert Climb. Martin Wang is pushing on at the front. It's a fairly flat run from the Liwa Desert Climb to the Tel Marib Sprint and then out the other side before they come to the Tel Marib Dunes section. But it's a long run. They don't hit that section till they get just past the 31-32 kilometre marker. So this pack rolling and rolling strong, but like Category 3, it's a big group of Category 5 riders. And my last count, there were 23 riders in that Category 5 pack, as we just switch to, you can see the Category 4 pack on the right-hand side of your screen, and this is the chase for the polka dot banner to pick up those points. Moretti is the rider pushing on. Nicholas Spratt coming through. Daniel Cadiz is there, as well as Rick Van Erck. And you can see it's actually Nicholas Spratt who picks up the polka dot skin suit, taking the fastest time on the Leeward Desert Climb in Category 4. It was Trujillo who took the fastest time on the Aquarium Climb. Spratt was second that time.
He was indeed. So Cadiz from Spratt, from Moretti, from Van Erck, and then Stevenson in Category 4. In Category 5, Agadello taking the fastest time up the Leeward Desert Climb from Clendinin, then Cirillo, Lasno, and Mountier. In Category 6 on that climb, Hoy taking top spot from a Tribble, McMurtry, Wolf, DeManuel, and Winfield. So very interesting to see how the riders are targeting that. You can see some of the same names up there, looking for those points, looking to get not only the segment prize, but also to take away the win, but also to animate the racing. And this is what we're seeing here in Category 2, because one of our regular animators, Maciej Mendakowicz, at the moment being chased by the familiar blue bike, blue bandana and gloves there of SS, who goes over the top into the lead in Category 2. But he's got company. David Dunn is there as well. A strong trio, Don, SS, and Mendakowicz, but Milor is having none of it. He's very quickly up into the moves. Interesting to see Grace moving up, Alan Young, Betty. These riders who we see towards the end of the race now very aware that they cannot afford to let the gaps go. One rider already being distanced off the back of the group, and we're only just into the tunnels.
Yeah, we are indeed. As you say, one rider being distanced, and it's looking like another one is going to go unless they can keep on those pedals and stay in the back of the group. The Category 2 pack, it's the biggest race field of the day with 56 riders on the start sheets. It's going to be a big pack, I think, coming into the finish as well, and it's going to be really interesting when we go through those Telmarib dunes what happens to this race field. But it's SS at the moment on the front of the pack. David Darn, Maciej Mendakowicz, Tord Alan Young is there as well. These riders wide across the road on the climb. A little bit of respite. We've just come through the flatter section where the bunch will come back together again. We might now start to see a little bit more of a stretch as we go back into the next climbing section.
And if you're a climber, you've got to make these sections count. There's no good giving a sprinter an easy ride or a bigger rider an easy ride. You need to be really starting to hand it out. You've got to race to your strengths, and that sometimes is maybe not where you want it to be. But with the biggest climb being right at the start, is with the earliest climb coming in at 12.2k as the 45-kilometer race distance, you've really got to push and you've really got to go hard. Interestingly, the height gain on the Aquarium climb is actually the same as the Telmarib Dune climb, but it's just much longer, 3.2k, whereas the Telmarib Dune climb is 1k long. It does give those climbers that opportunity at the back end of the race, but you want to make life as hard as possible.
Can I just say,
people as soon as you can.
We've just had Paul Skirski on the screen. Yep. This is a great course for him.
It is. It is. I think he's one of those riders that you would never, ever want to discount from a race win. But Paul Skirski is 2 wins so far on the Sunday Race Club. Last win being on, guess which course?
Telmarib?
Yep.
Told you it was a good course for him, and I've not even looked at your data.
20th of April.
There you go. You see, that was the last time we were here.
Yeah, guess where? In fact, he likes the Arabian World because he actually won on the Jebel Yace back in January as well.
Hold on a minute. There's 2 courses you couldn't really pick, could you? The Jebel Yace, seriously long climb. Telmarib, short, sharp and punchy. Well, Khan Kane is another rider who I think excels on short, sharp and punchy.
Khan Kane is really, really coming into his own, and I think he's a rider who, for me, seems to peak when we go into sort of the March, April, May, June period really, really well. And he is up to the fore, and I think that's what we're seeing again here. And right into the mix here. Interestingly, not far away from Gombe, there's Simon Walter in the mix as well, right up at the front here on the climb. The Category 2 riders just coming towards the summit of the climb at the moment, the Aquarium climb. Category 1 are on the way into the start. Johan Noren, though.
20 seconds clear.
Yeah, it's a long way.
That is a really great move from
Go on,
Johan
Johan.
Noren. Absolutely brilliant. The member of the Farm Watch squad. And we saw Bjorn Andreas and his teammate attack earlier on in Category 1. Johan Noren went away. He slipped away and nobody chased him. Yet we know he's a great climber.
Now, this group goal came in together. This side, Carradine has gone for a long one in terms of taking away the segment. Bryce is being chased by SS here. This is going to come down to not just who goes over the line first, which is SS, but who started further back in the group. And it looks like neither rider is going to take this because it is Paul Skierski climbing his way into the polka dot skin suit, as Emma says metaphorically. I told you so on the other side of the studio. It may be a little while.
I just got a big grin on my face.
Yes. So the word that I was looking for was smug, to be fair.
Grin.
But it's, yes, smug grin would do equally as well with Emma's correct prediction that Paul Skierski could not be discounted on this course. And clearly he's on form as well, taking that away and riding smart. Because he wasn't the first over the summit, but he was the fastest up the climb. Paul Skierski taking 5 points, Betty taking 4, Carradine taking 3, SS taking 2, and Patrick Stepanek taking 1 point in the climbs competition. Now, I'm willing to put quite a lot of money.
No betting.
Okay, no betting. In that case, I am willing to provide you, Emma, with an ice cream if Johan Noren actually managed to go over with the fastest time, given that he came in here with 20 seconds gap, and at the moment it's down to about 10.
Yeah, but it's Michael Vink. They've just realised, Noren is down the road. Also a phenomenal mountain biker. He's down the road and he needs catching. But I tell you what, take a look at who they're catching. That is Simmons and Fawcett. Oliver Simmons on our screen at the moment. Ross Fawcett is the rider he's with at the moment. And straight over the top, straight past goes Michael Vink on a charge to close down Johan Noren. Noren still 12 seconds up the road. And there it is. There goes Michael Knudsen, teammate of Vink. There goes Jason Osborne, teammate of Vink and Knudsen. The boss moves only are now moving.
They are indeed. And just as a side note, in Category 2, Olivier Simmons and Ross Fawcett, both who can be contenders on their day, not in with the lead group in Category 2, being passed already, as the lead group Category 2 have already got over the summit of this climb. Both those riders tapping out a steadier ride behind.
Yes,
maybe going to go for the sprints between them.
Well, I'll tell you, Vink is on our screen at the moment. You can see the effort and the work he's putting in to close that gap down to Noren. 5-second gap behind him. He has gone clear of the group behind. And if you look at the top right-hand corner of your screen, you can see the damage this move and Noren's breakaway has done to the Category 1 pack. Smattered like skittles down the mountain behind them as Vink comes up onto Noren's wheel. Now, my question is Vink going to sit down on that saddle, or is he going to continue to push on now for the polka dot banner, which, yes, he is. Noren frantically scrabbles now to lift the pace and to try and go with Michael Vink. Knudsen, Miller, Jones, Van Elst, Panizza all behind in the group at 6 seconds as they go on to the final section of the aquarium climb.
I think Vink isn't just going here for the climb. I think he's going for the breakaway. We've seen Michael Vink solo from this kind of distance. He can do this. And I think that for me. If you're in that chasing group of Category 1 and you are not having your ears deafened by the alarm bells going off in your head saying Vink has gone up the road, we need to do something about this because he could ride to the finish, then there's something wrong, because you need to be aware. You need to be marking this. Letting Johan Noren get 10 seconds is one thing. Letting Michael Vink get 10 seconds is something else altogether. And they're coming up to Noren now. Vink will ride away, given half a chance. He won't ease off. He will take his opportunities. He's got that killer instinct, that winner's instinct to seize an opportunity and to really make it count. And for me, that's what we're seeing here. 7 watts per kilo. This is not uncomfortable for Michael Vink. This is an effort to go over the top. It'll be telling when he goes over and underneath the banner. That gap at the moment is 10 seconds. He's doing damage no matter what. But look at that. That is not just, if he was just going for the segment, he could have opened up a gap of 2-3 seconds and that would be enough. This is a big move, and this is very, very strong indeed.
It is a really strong move from Michael Vink, and he's going to drop down the aquarium, climb the other side, and then he's going to go straight into the Liwa Desert climb. So in terms of timing on the course for an attack, this is really great timing and positioning because of the nature of it. It's a technical downhill. It's not just a straight run downhill. It is as stepped on the downhill run as the climb of the aquarium climb. So it's a technical downhill and one that you can stay away on, and the one that you can stay away from a chasing group. The chasing group is 6 seconds back, and it's Panizza leading the charge. Flubus is in there as well. Andreessen, Vujasin, Van Elst, Milostic. But the stretch is on that group behind, and you can clearly see that Vink's continual push is causing challenges behind. Now, I have just noticed Vink did just drop there to 3 watts per kilo, but he's already started to pick up the pace again.
Yeah, he's clearly not on that same pace that he had over the top, but that is not recovery pace. That is not 2, 3, 4 watts a kilo. He's back up again, isn't he, at 4 and 5? Very interesting. We'll come back.
20 riders, though, in that leading group.
Yeah, 1 versus 19. Not quite a fair fight unless you call Jason Osborne or Michael Vink. I think at the moment there are 2 riders on the best form, but that doesn't mean that they're unbeatable. Now, going across from Category 1, who are the last riders to start to our earlier starters, you can see Category 6 leaders on the left-hand side of your screen, the Category 5 leaders on the right-hand side of your screen. Mark Dadson, who we talked about earlier, with Christopher Lasno sprinting their way down the race route at the moment. They're the other side of the
Category
sprint
5
segment.
are not far behind Category 6.
They're not. That distance, it's only 600 meters. Category 6, I hate to say this, but they are looking like they are having a bit of a club run at the moment.
They are having a bit of a club run. Pedestrian was the word I was going to use.
I would thought about it, I didn't dare say that.
But if you take a look, we're with Pablo Tamanuan at the moment. He's riding in zone 2 at the moment. You can see that from the information on screen. He's just dropped down to zone 1. It is a steady energy reserving pace before they go into the Telmareeb Dunes, where they are going to need every match in their box.
Indeed. So time for them to head in. They're going to hit that first climb. It's about 850 meters or so long, this climb, the first of the 2 uncategorized parts of this segment. Then you go on to the categorized section of the Telmareeb Dune climb. And this actually was the first one was the finish of the women's race earlier on. I think if you've been watching that women's race, you see how many riders died. 1,000 deaths in the last 100 meters of this section. Now, that was at the end of the race, but I think it could still be just as decisive as they come in to that section. Category 6, left-hand side of the screen. Right-hand side of the screen, the 3 breakaway riders, Mark Dadson, Christophe Lasno, and Martin Wang in there. Wang, an interesting rider, and one definitely not to discount, already with wins on the Sunday Race Club, and taking that first win in the 7 Gems race in qualifier race number 2 in May. I mean, he's only ridden 5 and he's won 1 of them.
I'm sorry, but I'm giggling.
Sorry,
Look at the size of that Category 2 pack. And then I cross-checked the race distance. They're 200 meters from the top of the Liwa Desert climb. Look at the size of that group.
It's still huge. They're still sprinting.
I reckon that's 30 riders.
Yeah, over the top of this segment, Mathieu Kalman took the winning Category 3 from Luis Andrade, from Squilari and Bloom. They're the riders who went through. This time round in Category 2, it's Skierski, Paul Skierski taking again segment prizes. He was absolutely flat. I mean, really, really impressive here, because Paul Skierski, we saw, was going well in the sprint, but it is Skierski from Ndakowitz, from Betty, from Damsgaard, and then SS with Stepanek, Milor, Wozniak, Khan. They're all the big names up at the front there.
36 riders still in the leading group in Category 2. There's a little bit of stretch on the group at the moment, but they are about to drop down from the Liwa Desert climb onto the long flat run before they hit the Telmareeb Dune section. But they've got around a 10-kilometer transition to go. The pack now all coming together, but the question is, will that one solitary rider who has been distanced off the back make it back on board? The current pace of Khan Kane at 0.8 watts per kilo. My answer is yes.
I'm going to
say no.
I'm going to suggest that for almost all the race categories, that the best tactic for this course is minimalist efforts until you hit the end section. So basically, stay with the group on the aquarium climb and the leeward desert climb. Don't put in anything that's put in as little as you can get away with. Recover as much as possible, because if you are a sprinter, a climber, a ruler, and anything in between, pretty much, you're going to be you need it at the end of the course here for the really hilly bumpy section at the end. And the more you can keep your energy until the end of the talk, the better. The end of that race stage, the better. Now, just in with Franklin going to Almeida at the moment. He's in here with this group of Category 4 leaders. Definitely a rider well worth watching here today. Interesting to see he's got the weights in the background there in his pain cave. So clearly doing plenty of strength training to improve the power and to give him that stable platform that you can generate the watts and the power from.
Well, the Watson, the power in Category 4, Franklin Almeida, the rider who's just been on our screen, is tightly fitted into the bunch. We can see Goman, Montoya, Van Eekhout is in there as well, and they are transitioning towards that Tel Marib Dune section. Mohamed Mukhtari is on that climbing section already. It's part and parcel of the Category 5 pack, and they are absolutely dialing it here. You can see the Category 6 pack ahead of them. That's the head of the race field, the 14 riders that are in the front section of that Category 6 race. This is the pack of Category 5 riders, and they're coming up towards it, just 20 seconds off the back of Bain, who's on the back of the group. Mukhtari is on the front of this group. Pulaka and Yaniki are there as well. Mountier and Friedeck are there too.
I'll tell you something. If you didn't watch the finals of last month, give it a watch back. Some astounding sprint finishes and some surprise results in the racing. Well worth a watch back. Don't forget you can watch back all the Sunday race clubs along with the World Championships and lots of other racing on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that on the way through. Really does help. So please do make sure you hit that button. Now, jumping back in with Category 2, a little bit further back down that race field as Categories 5 and 6 were battling it out. The first salvo is being fired in the last phase of the battle that is qualifier race number 1 for June. As Emma has previously on the show, 4 qualifiers this month and the finals. It is a bonus Sunday Race Club month for everybody, including us here putting words to the action. That's myself, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin. We get to see these amazing riders in action as we see Category 2 really starting to rip it up, and Phil Graves on the attack at 7 watts per kilo. On the right-hand side of your screen, Betty Mendakowicz, Wozniak, Damsgaard are there and clearly wanted to break down that massive group as coming to the top of the leeward desert climb. The sprint is on as they go up over the top. This is the big pack coming over the top of the climb here. This will be very interesting to see who has taken away the climbs competition, and I think the fastest time there must have gone to Michael Knudsen, because he's in the climber's jersey as over the top goes Lionel Vujasic at 10 watts per kilo. So they've gone over the top of the climb, and immediately they've gone over the climb, it looks like Lionel Vujasic has gone on the attack. He went at 10 watts per kilo over the top. He's not got anybody go with him. This group is reforming behind. Over the top of the climb, it was Knudsen from Andreasen, from Safrazedi, from Flebus, and Kaminski. They are the point scorers on the climb of the Leeward Desert climb.
17 riders in that leading group, mind you, after the Leeward Desert climb. So that's 17 riders who may well be heading towards, well, they are going to be heading towards the Tel Marib Dune section together. And Vink now back in the mix, but it's Vink chasing Vujasin, because Vujasin is the rider who's pushed on. Vink closing it down. Knudsen, Andreasen, Van Elst, Kaminski all taking the toe. Kaminski's taking a massive toe because he's trying to do the least amount of work as possible on this downhill run. So Michael Vink comes back up onto the wheel of Lionel Vujasin. Is he going up and over the top? Is Vujasin responding? Yes, he is. Ollie Jones, huge stick from Ollie Jones, around 14 watts per kilo, driving to get into this in case this is the move of the day. The push is coming here. It's a huge flat transition section of around 10 kilometres, but don't let that discount the action.
No, definitely not. Line over Justin kicked over the top of the climb at 10 watts per kilo. Vink went across to him. Jones saw the danger of letting Vijassin and Vink go. Jones closes it down. He gets onto the wheels. He closes that gap right down again. He holds them at bay. Vijassin and Jones, teammates there, both riding for the Alpha Jaw squad.
Well, they don't want Vink to go with the Yassin, do they?
Well, only if they've got more people. 2 to 1 sound, 2 to 1, you know,
or 1 to
evens
1.
it up a bit better. 1 to 1, no, not so much when you've got Vic in that same ring. Now Jones just tapping out the rhythm on the front. You can see him just taking a drink on board in the pain cave in person. So we see another move going down the side here. There's a big push on that, and I think that was Plantero who's just gone off in front. It is. He eases back off though, so kicking into that corner, kicking through the group, but then backing off at the moment, and there are riders behind. This is not one bunch anymore in the Category 1 race. There are at least 2 riders who've been distanced by the pace, the pressure, and the power that's been applied. I actually think it's nearer 3 or 4 riders who have gone, but as we said, my maths is not great today.
Well, Plantero, Kaminsky, Andreasen, Tugels, Jones, Millerstick, all in this group. Johan Noren, our early attacker in the Category 1 race, also still in the mix. The Category 2 pack, where they're at 27.5 kilometres, a little further down the road. They're still like Category 1 on the transition between the Liwa Desert Climb and the Tel Marib Dune climbs. Big group here, but you can see very clearly it was split with a large chase group behind. So at last count, there were 36 riders in this leading group in Category 2. Betty, SS, Wozniak, Velez, Santo, Miller, Bjarhead, Gombert, Alanjung, all still in the mix as we head back to the front of the race.
The front of the race at the moment is Category 6, but not for long. Category 5 are on the way, and we can just see Samo Friedek at the moment working hard to make sure he stays in contention. Pulaka at the moment on the front, leading Category 5 with Moktari, Friedek, Roy Yannick, Wang Peterson, all chasing, all right in the mix. They're going to come onto this group. The riders will start to get a little bit of aerodynamic draft advantage, but they're traveling about 16 kilometers an hour, so it's not going to be decisive, but it could make the difference between being able to stay in. You can see the fracturing as we go over the top of this climb. This is at 37.8k, and this is the intermediate, this is the middle climb of the 3 big climbs that make up this dune section. We saw the first one, that 800-meter kicker. This is the second summit of the 3, but then we move straight into the Tel Marib Dune climb. So over the top here, we drop straight down, and then it's a very quick transition onto that Tel Marib Dune climb. The same ascent as the Aquarium climb, all done in less than a third of the distance on the climb.
Look at the size of that leading group now on the ride, and David Winfield, Maxime Fabre, and Simon Llewellyn, the rider on our screen at the moment, right at the front of that Category 6 race. And well, the question is, will they go in with the Category 5 riders? Will they leave them be? Because they have made that 5-minute catch and gone past them. Pulaka, I tell you something, he has been putting in some great riders recently. So has Yannicki and Sebastian Wolf. He's that Category 6 rider, the purple jersey that's just rolled its way through. They're on the downhill at the moment at the 38.3 kilometre marker. They're about to go into the categorised Tel Marib Dune climb. It's 1 kilometre long with an average gradient of 10.06%. Do not forget the 0.06. It is steep out there today. The Category 5 riders, I would say, are going to come to the fore on that section, as on the left-hand side of your screen, the Category 4 riders come into the first of those Tel Marib climbs.
So just making the way in and across the bridge, and then they go up over the first of those climb sections. We're going to see second of those climb sections just making the way in. They went over the first climb, they went in, going into the second. Meanwhile, back at the Category 1 race, you can just see the 26 6.6K. We've just gone over one of those slight rises on the way towards the Telmarine June climbs and the Telmarine sprint. We've got Knudsen on the attack. Jones sat behind him with Kaminsky. So at the moment, Knudsen on a long-range attack, using that little bit of a rise in the road to string out Category 1. But Category 2 are already at that Telmarine sprint. They've just gone flying through there. And the Telmarine sprint is going to be very, very telling indeed how many riders there are in contention as they make their way in and through. I make it about 32 or so, but I could be wrong there.
Oh, you might be right. You never know.
No, it wasn't a guess. I was looking at this computer screen. Believe me. Yes, it's not just guessing. Believe me. Now, Jonas Bjerre goes over the top. They've gone through the sprint. He pushes his way up over the top.
But take a look at that. We've got a rider off the front at the moment, and it is Phil Graves, who is pushing on at the front of the race. He's 7 seconds clear, just around the bend. There he is. We've just dropped in with him. There you go. Great shot. Gives you a clue of what's going on behind, and the stretches on the group behind, because they are chasing Graves down. Betty, Mendakowicz, Bjarhead, Krasnich, Bjorkland. They are the riders doing the chasing on the front of the pack as Graves digs in. Phil Graves hasn't had a win in a while. He's got to be due one. He's got to be coming back into that type of form.
I happen to know he's been putting in quite a lot of miles.
You've been Strava stalking.
Maybe. He's been putting in quite a few. I have spent a lot of time on Strava recently, actually. He has been putting in quite a lot of miles because he's working miles in the UK rolling kilometres out on the road as well, getting some seriously big training blocks in. So interesting to see whether that pays off now. So right hand side of your screen at Category 2 leader, left hand side of your screen Category 1 group at the moment. That's the leading group, and you can see that they are bouncing about still. This is still not decided. They are keeping the pace high, and it's a real key team tactic. You see time and time again, and we saw it in Giro being played out, where teams would keep the pace high to stop attacks going off the front. Teams do at the end of going into a sprint. They do the same going into a critical climb section. Stop people going on the attack. Keep the pace high, and it really does stop that differential in speed that you need to get the gap. Graves has got it on the right hand side, and at the moment that gap 10 seconds, Emma, it's opening out, but we saw when you hit the climbs, 10 seconds is not a lot if you blow. So you've got to be careful, haven't you?
You do. It's not a lot. And to be honest, the question is Graves giving himself slippage room before he goes into the Telmarine climbing sections, or is this an attack where he thinks he can win the race? At the moment, I'm taking a look at the pace behind, and the rest of the pack do not seem as bothered about the fact that Phil Graves is down the road. So the gap is actually going out at the moment. Take a look at the pack. They're wide across the road. There's nobody driving hard. One or two riders picking up the pace in the pack and maybe coming to the fore of the group, just making sure they're covering the positions. But at the moment, it is not as desperate a drive to bring him back in as you might think. Well, Maciej Mendakowicz has now decided he'd like to try and join Phil Graves because the gap is now at 12 seconds. So Mendakowicz now doing something about it. Bjarhead coming up onto his wheel. Wozniak is doing that as well. But Phil Graves is holding that pace. He is time trialling strongly away from the group, and very, very shortly they're going to come into the Telmarine June climbing section. That first climb, 800 metres at 10%. It's going to be interesting.
I think one of the things here is that the riders went to try and bridge across. They didn't do it immediately, and they then realised they've got this climb coming. You can't put a bridging effort in just before the climb. You had to do what Phil Graves was smart there. He put the effort in early. He's given himself enough time to get that gap and then sit at a good pace to get some recovery. So you're not in the red zone immediately before going into the red zone again, going on to this climb. And I think those riders who try to bridge realize that gap's too big, and we're not going to provoke a chase from everybody. Everybody's holding on and waiting. Now, that's given the advantage to Phil Graves. It's given him the advantage of riding into this at a pace. What's the worst that can happen? The group will come up to him on the climb, and he's ridden up at a pace which is consistent, whereas everybody else is jumping and having to kick an attack. We're seeing another move off the front here, kicking into towards the base of the climb, and I think this is. It's just how Betty's got, and with the greatest respect to Giselle Betty, I'm not sure what he's going to achieve here, other than go into the red zone immediately before the climb. He must be confident he can kick all the way up the climb and do an effort before
Well, we've just seen Simon Walter on our screen looking really calm and collected.
Yeah, that's what I want to be doing, sitting back.
You know, sitting back, calm and collected. Beyond head Nick Coate. The pace has come off. X100, we're seeing around 1.5 watts per kilo. They really are just reserving energy and lowering that heart rate before they go into that big kick, that 10% climb. Other than Betty, who we're seeing here push on. Now, the question is for me, Betty has taken his warm-up jersey off, which is absolutely great.
And he's had a coffee as well. Maybe that's going to be what makes the difference.
That could well make the difference. But Betty is driving this. And my question is, you know, is he planning on almost like a time trial attack here? Run in hard, stay at the same pace and just go for a long effort. Hopefully you're going to run into the back of Phil Graves, and I think he is.
I think he's going to run right over him.
No, well, that's it, isn't it? The question is here, as the horses run alongside the riders, Betty is going to run alongside Phil Graves very, very shortly.
Now, here we go. If Betty came in, he went early. I always love it when riders do something different where you maybe not expecting. I fully did not expect Betty to go in so early. He's gone early. He's gone hard.
He knew what he was doing.
I don't disagree with that. Whether it's the right thing to do, when you know what you're doing, you can often do the wrong thing. Let's face it, we've all done that. Here we go. He gave himself a sliding room as a minimum. Graves has been reabsorbed into that group, and I think that could well be the cost of having gone on the attack early. Betty's staying clear here at the moment. Does it come over the top? It does mean he should be in the selection moving forwards. It's one way to ensure that you go over the top of the climb here in the selection, in contention behind him. This is the names. These are the riders who are closest to him, and it's Themes, Nitko, Milor, SS, Bjarhead, Skierski, Alan Young was up there. But this is really interesting. Pinto, it's a revolving door of characters at the moment at the front of the category to chase behind Betty. As we take a look on the left-hand side of our screens at the category 1 leading group at the moment, Michael Knudsen. At the moment, after having pushed on, is sat at the back of that group. That's an interesting move by him to sit closer to the back. And I think this is all about rest. It's about recovery. He is doing that waiting game for the climb on the left-hand side. Right-hand side, though, Betty staying clear. Phenomenal ride by him. He's holding the time gap as he goes up this climb. It's computed, it's a live time gap, so it is speed versus distance as a computation to give you the time gap. It will change as they go over the top. He will pick up speed first, so we'll need to get them into a stable section of road together on the same gradients, the same speeds, to get a clear indication of the time gap. But Betty over the top in the lead, continuing to push at over 5 watts per kilo behind. They're holding a similar watts per kilo, and that time gap looks to be holding the distance, just extending because he's picking up speed on the downhill. Now, let's take a little bit of a look across the left-hand side of your screens to the very front of the race. Category 5 are the riders furthest down our race route today. They're currently at 43.5 kilometres. At the moment, 3 leaders in that Category 5 race. Tamo Fedek, along with Yussi Balaka and Mohamed Mukhtari. They have a slight gap, 8 seconds to Yannick Wang. To Yannick, it's 12 to Wang and 22 to Roy.
Well, they do indeed. Sebastian Wolf, the Category 6 leader, is wearing the polka dot skin suit in 4th place on the road at the moment. In with the chase group of the Category 5 race field. So Category 5 leaders just 6 seconds down the road from the Category 6 leader at the moment as they're coming into the final 1,000 metres. Friedrich and Mukhtari, the two riders on the screen, the two riders at the front of the group. They've got Pulaka for company at the moment with 1 kilometre to go. These three riders are about to drop into the descent, the final run in here today. The descent they are about to hit, then the flat run to the finish line. We've seen attacks go on the descent to pick up the momentum and carry the pace towards the finish for an early attack. Will we see any of these riders utilise that tactic today, or will we see that happen from behind? Wolf is the rider leading the charge, but Yannicki behind has picked up the pace already as Tamo Friedrich kicks, but Mohamed Mukhtari, Matt, is leading the charge with 600 metres to go here.
And what a ride by Mukhtari. You can see the effort. You see him out of the saddle, really pulling through there. He's gone early. He's gone for the long one. Tamo Friedrich in only his second Sunday Race Club, though. He's looking to close the gap down. Time is running out here for them as they come around this long sweeping bed here. Mohamed Mukhtari went early. He's got to kick again. Tamo Friedrich goes over the top. Friedrich has got the race lead here. You can see him out of the saddle, sprinting. That bike is bouncing back. Mukhtari is responding, but Leica cannot answer him. What a race by Tamo Friedrich. He takes the win here today in only his second Sunday Race Club. It's going to be Mukhtari and Pulaka coming through behind on the podium as well. But what a rider to go through. Now, immediately behind, you can see there is going to be a fast chase on. I think Wolf heading in towards the line at the moment in Category 5. I just have to see Emma.
Right, so let's just run through. Tamo Friedrich took the win there from Jussi Pulaka, who came over the line just ahead of Mohamed Mukhtari in third. Jean Yannicki takes fourth. Martin Wang takes fifth. Justin Roy, Patrick Mortek, Nathan Peterson and Mark Dadson round out the top 9 in Category 5. Sebastian Wolf did indeed come through to take the win in Category 6. Brent Sensing, Simon Llewellyn, David Winfield and David Milano round out the top 5 in Category 6 as well.
Absolutely packed race in Category 5 coming in. Some royal strength in depth and in Category 6 as well. But here we go. This is the run. And interestingly, those Category 5 have really motored up with Category 6. Category 4 have been a bit more conservative, I think, in their effort today because of the time gap and the distance gap between them and the riders who've just finished.
Category 5 were really motoring, I think, and they really did push on. Category 4, we're in with them at the moment, and we've got 3 riders with a slight gap as they're heading into that downhill. But look at the size of the pack. 21 riders in this leading group last count, should I say. And it is piling up to be a massive sprint finish here today. They're going to hit the descent here and then the flat run in. They're coming up to 900 metres to go. It's Moreno, Kirchner and Moretti with a 3-second gap back to Pino, Goldman, Iran, Quiros. They are all lining up behind, and this man, Jonas Goldman, the man with the sprint skin suit, is the rider making the transition over to the leading 3 with 650 metres to go.
This is dangerous for the rest of the riders here because he's going to come running onto them at speed. He's going to pick up Moretti, Kirchner and Moreno, and will they respond first? It's a long sweeping left-hand bend round to the gantry, and they've not kicked yet. Goma's coming at 8 watts per kilo. Kirchner, Moretti and Moreno, and now Moreno goes. Moreno's kicking on the right-hand side of the road here. Moreno goes through into the race lead as we see Goma make contact with second and third place. Can we see Johan Moreno take away the win? He's going hard. Coleman's coming in the green skin suit. He's coming up on his right shoulder. Coleman times it to perfection. He takes it away. He adds the overall win to the sprint win there. What timing by Goman. Well worth the effort in. The big bunch comes through behind. Goman scalps the initial lead coming in there. What a ride.
That was absolute timed to perfection. Goman dialed it on the descent and then took the momentum into the finish. So Jonas Goman taking first place in Category 4. Johan Moreno taking second. Paolo Kirchner taking third. Daniel Moretti takes fourth. Arayev takes 5th, Quiros 6th, Almeida 7th, Van Erck 8th, Hernandez 9th, and Stevenson 10th.
Wow.
Yes.
Absolutely
Draw
fast finish.
breath.
Just a little. It's a very, very fast finish here today on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club in Telmareeb. The fast finish here, the flat sprint in the men's race, in stark contrast to the women's uphill sprint we saw earlier on today. If you haven't seen that, do have a watch back of that as well. We're in with Category 3, and we're in with our Category 3 leaders. The polka dot skin suit being worn by MyWhoosh Kalman, he's going to take away the win in that climbs competition. For company, he has got Heaney and Ramirez. They are leading out this, but behind that are chasers. Will they get across? Not so sure about that. Meanwhile, back in Category 1, it looks like Michael Vick has managed to break away as they come in towards the second of the climb. So on the first climb of the Telmareeb section, Vick breaking away, just opening up a gap. And I think that was about 10-second gap lead he had.
Yes, on
at
Leonard
that point.
Chugles.
Okay.
And Chugles was the second rider before a further gap back to the chase pack.
More news when we have it. In with Category 3, Emma, Ramirez, Kalman and Heaney. An interesting trio to have together here.
Oh, it is indeed a really interesting trio to have together. They've got 1.5 kilometres now before we get to the finish. You've got MyWhoosh Kalman on the top of the screen. You've got Carlos Ramirez on the bottom of your screen. Great mural on his on his wall. Absolutely brilliant. What a pain cave Carlos has. That's phenomenal. But it is those two riders mixed in with Alex Heaney as they come into the last 1,300 metres of the race. They're coming towards the top of the climb. It's 1.8% gradient at the moment under their wheels. They're 13 seconds clear of the chase bunch behind, which is being led by David Goodall. He's in the mix there with Oleg Kochikov. Those two riders in the mix, actually, because it's a Category 4 rider in with them. But it's these three riders that are going to contest the win here today in Category 3. MyWhoosh Kalman, Carlos Ramirez, Alex Heaney. 2 out of the 3 on your screen. You can see this race unfold. They've got 900 metres left to go, and the pack is still rolling. No one has gone for the long one yet, but the descent is starting to pick up now. The pace is picking up. They're at 46 kilometres an hour, and it is swiftly climbing.
And of these three riders, it is MyWhoosh Kalman who has the better Palmares on the Sunday Race Club so far, with Ramirez and Heaney all taking the one win. But Kalman, at the moment, he is the man who's regularly taken top spot. Will he be able to do the same again? Heaney just sitting with this group. This is going to be about who blinks first, who gets their timing right. Now, just seeing Cardona Ramirez just take a little bit of a resettle, a reseat as Heaney starts to kick at 13 watts per kilo and starts to move clear of this group. Behind him, you can see the responses coming, but Alex Heaney jumped first. Has he jumped fastest? Kalman is coming. Did Kalman leave it too late? He did. Alex Heaney takes it. He had the timing correct, so we're going to see who came in behind. Heaney takes the win. MyWhoosh Kalman takes second, and Carlos Ramirez takes third. They're your podium in the Category 3 race.
Can I just say, I am loving being in the pain case for the finale.
Yes, please.
It's
more.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you do not stream from your pain cave, please think about joining the live stream because it is fabulous to get into that window and actually see what the real athlete behind the avatar and the real finale, as well as the one on the screen on the Sunday Race Club. Now, Category 2 and Category 1 are the riders on the road still, and we've got a real battle going on at the moment. Category 2, there's still a good sized pack on the road. Category 1, however, on the left hand side of your screen, Michael Vink has gone clear. Tugles has been caught by Jones. The gap is at around 18 seconds, and Ollie Jones is motoring at the moment.
And they've got company, looks like Van Alsten there and Vajassin. I think that group, they're not going to come back, but it does mean that we're going to see a real tough sprint as we go in Category 1. Meanwhile, Category 2, interesting kick by Jeffrey Miller here at 41.4k. I think, remember, they're going to 45. Miller has gone long here at 5.5 watts per kilo. He was not content with the pace that the Category 2 riders were putting in. And Miller has tried to stir up a little bit of action in amongst these 4 riders. He's, I think, very aware that they could get caught by the riders behind in Category 2, and there's nothing worse than being in a race-winning position and then throwing it away because you didn't keep an eye on what's going on behind. And I think Malou is very aware of what's happening behind. The other riders, they may be aware, but they're maybe just playing their cards close to their chest. It's David Nitko who's chasing here. He's on the left-hand side of his screen, and he can see them in front.
Yeah.
You can see the group with that polka dot skin suit, and Nitko is coming. They could get caught out here if they're not careful. This is going to be very, very interesting. You got this little bit of a rise and then a fall down to the line. I'm not sure that Nitko hasn't got this just right, and he's going to get across. He's going to bridge across, unless those 4 in front suddenly start to pick that pace back up again.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because you've got those riders out front. You've got Nitko now coming and crossing the gap. There we go. We're in with him on the screen at the moment. You can see the effort that it is taking to close this gap down, and he may well be rewarded for it. It's 6 seconds to the group ahead and 8 seconds to the group behind. X100, Biarhead, Walter, Milostic, Wozniak. I'm surprised they are not pushing stronger and trying to close this down. You can see the group wide across the road as Nitko continues to drive onto the back of the leaders here in Category 2. I think he's going to be rewarded because that Category 4 rider is going to enable some draft here. They're not going to be able to stay. Castro is not going to be able to stay with this group of Category 2 riders. But it's whether Miller, Thiem et al., Skierski and Trzynski push on, and when they do, Miller is going to kick. They're at 42.9 kilometers. There's still 2k to go.
They're coming up to the crest of this climb now, and you can see Thiem kicking into this climb. He's starting to open the gap, and this is where Nitko has to dig deep because they're going to look like they're stretching out and going clear. They are in danger of dropping. Skierski here with the power that's being put down. Trzynski takes it over the top of the race in Category 2. He's the lead rider in Category 2 with the black helmet, with that white helmet. You can see that's Jeffrey Miller. Then you've got Thiem with the gold bandana, and of course in that polka dot skin suit, that is Skierski. They are the 4 leaders. Nitko has tried to come across. He's currently not quite made the gap, and now we're seeing a push come from Karen Kayan. Jonas Bjarhead also started to kick out of the bunch. There may be sensing there is a chance to push up. Remember, there are 10 prizes at stake. We've got 4 leaders. We've got 1 chaser. We now got another. We're still inside that prize allocation. So really important for these riders to get into a good position that is going to stick. So over the top, Skierski, Trzynski, Thiem and Miller, they have the lead. 9 seconds from Nitko, who I think at the moment is just regrouping and regathering. And now a push comes from Skierski as they go over the top. He's at 6 watts per kilo. Response instantly by Thiem at 8.5 watts per kilo. Miller at the moment with Trzynski just at the back of that group. Very interesting to see the responses here.
Miller for me is the one to watch. We know he's got a phenomenal sprint, and he's right on the back of the group, and he's taking the pace right off as he starts to wind it up again. And the question is, at what point do you launch on this descent? The pace will pick up. It'll go from 40 kilometers an hour to nearly 60 kilometers an hour by the time they get to the base of that descent. And then they've got the flat run to the finish. And if you can utilize that pace, that momentum, then you stand a really good chance. But it is all about timing, and timing is key. Trzynski is there, Miller is there, Thiem and Skierski. The chase is on behind, and it's X100, but the chase is probably, I think, too far back now. Kane has tried to bridge the gap. He's not there yet. They are too far back now, I think, to come into this last 500 meters. This is about the 4 riders on the front, and Trzynski is launched from the back.
So Trzynski launches from the back. You can see him making his way up on towards the wheel of Skierski. He's the rider with the white helmet coming up on the right-hand side. So Trzynski goes over the top. Miller is going as well. And this is Jeffrey Miller now who leads them out. Miller from Thiem, from Skierski, from Trzynski. They have all tried pushing, but surely this is going to come down to the pace and power. Jeffrey Miller takes away the win here. Thiem, Trzynski go in and through with Skirsky. Skirsky will be rewarded with the polka dot skin suit for the climbs competition. Miller in 1, Theme in 2, Skirsky in 3, Tudzinski in 4, Karn takes 5th, David Nitko takes 6th place, Aspina in 7th, Alan Young in 8th, Bjarhead in 9th, Krasnich in 10th place, Mistakes 100 in 11th, Tamsgaard in 12th, Walter in 13th, Betty in 14th, and in fact, it continues. I'm not going to keep on going because it's like reading the phone book, but you get the impression, the idea. There is a big pattern. They've all just come
Once upon a
chasing in.
time, a long, long
Yes.
time ago, there was a thing called a telephone book.
Yeah, it's when you picked up phone numbers from something other than the internet. It was real
Well,
paper
I'll
and everything.
tell you something who is picking up the pace at the moment, and that is Michael Vink. He's leading the Category 1 race at the moment. He's 19 seconds clear of the chase group, which is being led by his teammate Michael Knudsen. Leonard Tugels is there, Jasper Paradines, Lionel Vujasin, Stefan Van Els. Is a big pack of Category 1 riders. Vink is at the 43.7 kilometre marker. He's coming towards the top of the descent on the run in towards the finish. He's got 1.3, 1.2 kilometres to go. So Michael Vink is moving through at the front of the Category 1 race. The battle, though, is on behind in the chase group because this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th et al. Jasper Paradines is in the green skin suit. Michael Knudsen is in the polka dot skin suit. Those two part and parcel of that Category 1 pack with Tugels, Van Elst, Vujasin et al. Michael Vink, however, is still 17 seconds clear as he comes towards the final 900 metres to go, and he's about to start dropping in to that finish descent.
He is indeed. And I was just doing some very quick maths. I think Michael Vink has managed to be in the top 5 for 80 of his 109 participations in the Sunday Race Club, and included in that are 44 wins. This will make it his 45th win in those 109 participations in the Sunday Race Club. You can see the revs being put down at the moment. 99 is the number on your screen. Now goes over 100 as he revs his way into the finish. He's not just content with a 20-second gap. He wants to push all the way in. Michael Vink doing what Michael Vink does, breaking away, soloing to race victory. Michael Vink takes the win in qualifier race number 1 in June on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Well, I'll tell you something, that is nearly a 40% win rate for Michael Vink on the Sunday Race Club as Michael Knudsen comes round to the finish line. It looks like he's going to take the win from Jasper Paradines, but Paradines is coming really fast behind. Vujasin is as well. But Knudsen comes through for 2nd place today as the sprint unfolds behind.
And as they came in over the line, it was Vink who took the win. Then we had Michael Knudsen come through clear. Vujasin holding off the sprint from Jasper Paradines. So Vujasin taking 3rd, Paradines taking 4th, then Tugels in 5th with Van Elst in 6th place, Kaminsky in 7th, Ollie Jones in 8th, and then we're going to see this battle here. This is for 9th and 10th places, and it looks like it's going to be between Harris here and Planter, and Joshua Harris is going to take that. He goes in and through ahead of Michael Plantero. You can see him just easing off the pressure there. So the top 10 rounded out by Michael Plantero. His time was 52 seconds down on the winning time of 1 hour, 2 minutes and 19 seconds from Michael Vink. The Boss Moves Only squad with 1st and 2nd places here today. They'll be very happy with that. Vujasin in 3rd place. That's your top 3 here today. The climbs competition going to Knudsen, the sprint competition going to Paradines, and all of the race results available on the mywhoosh.com website. Just go to the main menu, click on results, and you'll be able to look those up. They're currently at the moment provisional, and when that verification is done, you'll see the official stamp of approval.
Little blue tick.
A little tick on the side there, and that stamp indicates that the results have all been verified, and all of our riders are verified, so that's not an instant process. Just giving you a quick heads up. Give you a quick heads up that next week we are going to be back for qualifier race.
Shall I tell you where we're going?
2. Tell us where we're going.
The women are going to Herderiat.
Excellent.
And the men, Columbia.
So 2 very different courses after our men and women have both been racing on essentially the same course here today. In qualifier race number 1, I hope you'll join us for that. You can, if you aren't already tired of hearing Emma and myself, join us for the UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Eliminator World Cup. That's coming on later on today. You can pick that up on the City Mountain Bike feeds. We'll be putting words to the action to the racing there as well. A much shorter race distance with the 500-meter lap instead. It's always full of thrills and spills from the heartland of Belgium, where we go regularly on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. You can follow me. It's at Matt Fixer Paint on Instagram and on Strava. You can follow Emma at biking_Emma on Instagram. Do make sure you follow at MyWhoosh for all the updates on the amazing platform that is MyWhoosh. And make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend. Let's make sure that we keep those numbers up there, if not increasing, and share the love of what is some amazing racing put on for us by some amazing riders. A massive thank you to our riders. A massive thank you to the team behind the scenes in production, and of course at MyWhoosh. A big thank you to Emma, my co-host, as well, and a thank you to you for watching. We will see you again next week if we don't see you for the XCE, but from Emma and myself, we'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.